An underground place that doesn't allow anything to leave, a place where only S-rank adventurers may enter, is known as the Forbidden Labyrinth. Due to its long history of swallowing up multiple adventurers, it came to be spoken about with great respect. This place is called Abyss, where once you enter, you will never see the sky again. One day, an S-rank party called Future Plan is getting ready to go into a labyrinth. A man in the group tells someone to check the loading anchors. Then he hears some voices and asks another person what's going on. The person says that Godok, the leader of Future Plan, is having a disagreement with a new member. The man sees a swordsman named Jire walking towards them and putting his hand on Godok's shoulder. Jire asks if they can stop arguing. He explains that as a newcomer, he has kept quiet. But whether the girl is a baggage handler or not, it makes him uncomfortable to see Godok treating her this way. Jire requests Godok to cut it out. Godok angrily questions if Jire has a problem with how he does things. The baggage handler girl beside Jire tries to say something, but Jire stops her with his hand gesture. He tells Godok that he indeed has a problem with it. Jire adds that when he signed the contract with Godok, it didn't include agreeing with everything Godok does. Godok stands there, visibly angry, while Jire continues. He asks Godok if he's going to keep complaining about hindrances and useless burdens even in the labyrinth. Jire suggests that since they're about to challenge the hardest labyrinth in the whole country, Godok should let him enjoy it a little. Godok looks straight into Jire's eyes and without saying anything, turns away. Before walking off, he tells Jire not to push himself. Although Jire may be skilled with a sword, he's still a rookie, and he should follow orders in the labyrinth. Jire smiles and agrees to keep that in mind. Godok leaves, expressing frustration, telling Jire to stop slacking off and get a move on already. Jire looks back and sees the girl he supported, smiling with a ponytail. He asks if she is Kraa, the rookie support member from Future Plan. Kraa confirms with a smile and apologizes to Jire for him taking a stand for her. Jire tells her not to worry about it and suggests they go now. Kraa agrees and they both sit in the carriage. The carriage starts moving, and Kraa mentions hearing that Jire is the heir to a famous sword school. Jire blushes, downplaying it, saying it's not a big deal. Kraa then brings up Godok, the team leader, informing her that Jire slayed a dragon in a country to the east. Jire smiles proudly, sharing that he accomplished that feat with his master. He lies back in the carriage, mentioning that he's currently touring around the country to defeat one by himself, acknowledging he still has a long way to go. Watching Jire, Kraa checks if he's okay. Jire confirms and praises her for not moving. Kraa, smiling, plays down the situation, saying anyone could handle that much. But Jire disagrees. Sadly, she sees herself as just a rookie support member and asks Jire if she can ask a question. Jire stays quiet, and suddenly she asks about how she can become stronger. Jire, surprised by the unexpected question, looks at her, and Kraa feels embarrassed, admitting it's crazy for someone like her to ask. Jire assures her it's fine, but wants to know the reason behind her question. Kraa, with tears in her eyes, reveals that she has always loved heroic tales since childhood, and dreamed of traveling like the characters in those stories. Jire asks if she diligently studied things like packing and map-making when she was old enough to become an adventurer, realizing why she's good at such things. Jire then asks if, as an adventurer now, she wants to improve her combat abilities. Kraa energetically agrees. Jire points out that being an adventurer requires more than just survival skills. She also needs the skills to take on monsters. Kraa is stunned and clenches her fist, expressing frustration that no one will teach her these combat skills. She explains that when she joined Future Plan, they promised advancement training to move from a support role to a main one. However, the training turned out to be vague instructions like learn by observation and give up if you can't do it. Jire wonders if there is no internal system for training people. Kraa confirms, and Jire realizes that's why they're bringing in outsiders like him to strengthen their team. Kraa laughs, acknowledging her inexperience, but Jire finds this method unreasonable and something he can't agree with. Kraa, feeling a bit embarrassed, admits it's pretty shameless to ask Jire all these questions. In response, Jire points his finger and hypothetically presents a scenario where a dog monster or something similar is coming at Kraa. He asks her what she would do in such a situation. Kraa says she would try to encounter it, and Jire advises her that it would be better to anticipate its attack in advance and set a trap. This suggestion shocks Kraa, and Jire explains that such strategies are kind of cunning but effective. He emphasizes that there are no strict rules in battle, and everyone holds different cards in their hands, determining when and how to use them. Kraa listens carefully as Jire explains. Using his finger, Jire emphasizes that the most important thing is to understand the card she holds and choose the best move possible. He assures Kraa that no matter how useless she thinks her hand is, there will always be a scenario where it can be useful. The more cards she has, the stronger she becomes. Jire adds that a versatile card will have a big impact, and if she strengthens it, she can use it in different situations. Summing up, he says that training, experience, and knowledge will increase her overall strength. Kraa looks at Jire with a serious expression while Jire smiles, sharing this advice. Kraa asks Jire if he is a theoretician, and Jire tells her he's just a challenger. He admits he might talk a big game, but at the end of the day, he's just a swordsman. Jire explains that he's not good with anything else, and Kraa can say he has chosen one card in his hand that he brute forces everything with, because all he does is watch people and turn his envious feelings into logic. He further informs Kraa that his eyesight is really poor, and when he slayed the dragon, it placed a curse on his eyes. Now, only physical enhancements like increased hardness have any effect on him. Kraa gets really scared when Jire admits he has a bigger problem than the previous curse. His sense of direction is so bad that if he's alone in the labyrinth, he might never find his way out. Plus, if he loses his glasses, it could be really dangerous for him. So to be safe, he gives his spare glasses to Kraa to hold on to. The carriage suddenly stops, and they've reached their destination. Just before going into the labyrinth, Jire offers to teach Kraa a simple card for fighting. He can't be her official teacher or show her any fancy sword techniques, but he can teach her the basics of sword fighting if she's interested. Kraa quickly grabs his hand and bows deeply. Although it's just a small promise, it means a lot to her. Little did they know what was about to come. A mere 2 hours into the labyrinth, Jire finds himself alone, his glasses shattered and the darkness closing in. The journey has turned into a dangerous and surprising situation, and now the group, who were confident before, doesn't know what will happen next in the deep abyss. Jire is thinking about how something really unexpected happened during the labyrinth raid. Everything was going well until that tense moment when they encountered a monster. He realizes that even the strongest S-rank adventurers never made it past the 3rd level of this super tough labyrinth. In his mind, he thanks the team for planning a good route that made it easy to move around, even when they couldn't avoid meeting enemies. Jire and his party now face a real danger as they encounter the boss on the 3rd floor. These special monsters are on every floor, and they get a lot of magic power from the labyrinth itself. Unlike other monsters, they don't wander around. Instead, they wait for adventurers in a room called the Boss Chamber. The Boss Chamber can be avoided and skipped, but not on the 3rd floor, as their party planned. Jire, being the first, charges in, holding his sword tightly. After Jire's charge, it's time for them to follow their original plan. Now, in a one-striker formation where the vanguard draws all the attention from the enemy, Jire is satisfied with this plan because all he can do is swing his sword, and it's natural for him to take the brunt of the enemy's attacks. It's easier for him than worrying about others, and it's good physical training too. Jire looks back to see what's happening, as there's no logistical support, and there's Godok, the leader. The demon swords closely linked with the man himself disappear after using an excess of mana. Godok, realizing the floor boss is extremely strong, steps forward and unleashes his demon sword. Jire looks at Godok, and Godok looks back, silently ordering him. Jire nods, indicating that he will buy some time. Jire jumps in the air to attack the floor boss, and at the same time, Godok uses his power. Unfortunately, Jire is within the range of this power, and he's shocked to realize that Godok didn't wait for him to finish his strike. Everything goes completely dark for a moment due to the flash of Godok's power. Jire has no time to avoid it, and a massive blast occurs, creating a hole in the labyrinth. Jire finds himself falling into that hole, thinking that only the boss floor was his friend and no one else, as he sees that he's not alone in the fall. Finally, he gets to see the real face of his party leader. The floor boss, whom Jire briefly considered a friend, tries to attack him while they are both in the air. However, Jire, showing his strong courage, fights back with his sword and manages to defeat the floor boss. Afterward, he falls to the ground and lies there, taking deep breaths, trying to understand what just happened. He realizes the floor boss was tough too, but then he sits up and looks at the hole from which he fell. Climbing back up seems impossible. Covered in sweat and feeling anger inside him, he decides he will never forgive Godok. No matter the reason behind it, he wonders what was going on in Godok's mind to use such a dangerous technique on someone. He thinks about the argument they had before, and wonders if that's why it happened. Jire shouts loudly, expressing that he was nearly attacked from behind, and when he gets out of there, he won't be satisfied until he defeats Godok. After yelling and letting out his frustration, Jire wonders how he'll escape. He remembers there are others in his party who are his friends, like Raha. He thinks there are more girls like her who could help. He imagines if they could toss down a rope for him to hold on to, then he could come out of the hole and punch Godok hard in the face. But first, he needs to get out of there, so he starts shouting for help. The scary ceiling terrifies him, but then he smiles, realizing he still has his glasses. Happily, he takes them off and shouts that his glasses are fine, which is crucial because without them, he wouldn't be able to go on. As long as he has them, he believes he'll be fine. Raha sits on the ground, trying to make sense of what she just saw. She can't believe her eyes. She remembers the moments when she first met Jire. Then, she hears Godok's voice, saying it was an unfortunate accident. He adds that if the third-floor boss can withstand an unleashed demon sword, it's too much for them. Kraa's eyes widen as she wonders if they're leaving Jire behind like that. Anger builds in her as she shouts at Godok, accusing him of intentionally aiming at Jire. She points out that someone as skilled as him wouldn't make such a mistake. Kraa tells Godok that he did it on purpose. Godok gets angry and lifts Kraa by her neck. He menacingly asks her what she's going to do about it. Kraa responds that she will report Godok to the guild for attacking a fellow member from behind, breaking the rules. She adds that Godok is also responsible for injuries caused in the labyrinth due to negligence and emergency evacuation. Kraa tells Godok that no matter how he tries to walk away from it, there were many witnesses to what happened. Godok stares into Kraa's eyes and demands to know where these supposed witnesses are. Kraa looks around, but everyone seems drained and silent. Godok smirks, telling Kraa that nobody saw anything. Kraa is shocked by everyone's silence. Godok dismisses Kraa's accusations, calling her useless and claiming she imagined the whole thing. He turns away, preparing to leave, and tells Kraa to dream all she wants but not to bother him. Then, he orders everyone to get ready to leave. Kraa sits there in silence, shocked to learn that she can't do anything. She remembers trying to help Jire by reaching out her hand, but it couldn't reach him. Suddenly, another adventurer named Holland comes to Kraa and encourages her to snap out of it. He tells her that if she leaves, she'll be in big trouble. And Kraa, still in shock, asks Holland why everyone agrees with Godok. Holland explains that for them, Godok is everything, and there's only one top-tier party in this country. If they go against Godok, they won't be able to stay here. Kraa wonders if that's the only reason everyone supports Godok, despite his wrong actions. Holland agrees and shares that he has a family to support too. Kraa clenches her fist in pain. A tear drops from her eye, and she says she can't just leave things like this. She's determined to go, even if she has to go alone. However, Holland advises her that she can't do anything right now. Kraa lowers her head in sorrow, asking Holland if he's saying it's pointless even if she goes to rescue Jire on her own. Holland blows a cigarette, agreeing with her and saying she can't do it right now. He explains that he's not telling her to ignore the situation, but she's not strong enough at the moment. He assures her it's a normal part of being an adventurer, and this time, she happened to witness it. He tells her there's nothing she can do right now, and she clenches her fist in frustration, saying she didn't become an adventurer to feel this way. Holland tries to console her by putting his hand on hers, but Kraa starts crying. He tells her the only thing she can do is learn from someone like himself, a less-than-ideal professional adventurer. Kraa decides to stick with Holland, not resigning from the party. She didn't want to be in this kind of situation, but she knows that leaving would mean no future for her, and she'd never be able to explore the abyss on her own again. 3 months later, one day, Kraa runs heavily, coming to a stop in front of the labyrinth. She thinks to herself while gazing at it that one day, when she descends into the labyrinth once more and reaches the deepest level, she will bring Jire back to the surface, even if it's just a small fragment of him. Running to the abyss has become a part of her daily routine, and as she walks, wiping her sweat, she notices a large carriage, wondering if there's a nobleman inside. Looking at some holy knights, she wonders about the unit under the direct order of the church being present, as they typically only take action when it's time to seal a fallen king. She gazes at them with curiosity, pondering if something has happened. Among the holy knights, she sees a girl with a staff in her hand. Some claim her as a saint, but the girl doesn't like that title because she thinks it doesn't suit her. Kraa gazes at Saint, thinking some not-so-nice thoughts about how useless she is, and even worse, what people are saying about her friend Jire. Rumors are floating around that Jire is already gone, but deep in her mind, Kraa is determined to bring back her friend. No matter how much she has to transform herself, she's ready to go a long way, even if she can't do anything at the moment. She starts walking towards Saint, telling herself in her mind that she can't bear to stay the way she is now. One day, she believes she will become powerful enough to bring back her friend. Meanwhile, Jire spots some wolves carrying fish in their mouths, heading his way. Fear shows on his face as he prepares himself, swiftly snapping at the wolves with his sword, until he manages to defeat all three. Taking deep breaths in front of the wolf corpses, he warns them not to underestimate him. Jire declares that although he may look like a human, he's become a caveman, and these little dogs can't handle the turf war with them. Standing there, he reflects on the 3 months since the disaster. Eating the uncooked fish, he finds it gross, realizing he's nearing his mental limit, and the taste of fish is awful. Jire calculates that being here for 3 months means he's been enduring this for nearly 100 days. He believes he deserves a little praise for holding on this long without proper survival tools. Seeing his fish, he suddenly spots a shiny crystal inside it. This makes him super excited because he thinks he can sell it for a lot of money. He talks to a stone with a picture of Godok on it, sharing how he found the crystal. But then, out of nowhere, he throws the crystal away, saying he doesn't care what anyone thinks. This makes him feel a roller coaster of emotions, going from happy to sad. He thinks about how people in civilized society have their limits. Feeling down, he wonders if he's going crazy, and questions what he's complaining about. Trying to cheer himself up, he pushes himself off the ground and decides that if he keeps moving upwards, he'll eventually reach the surface. He says goodbye to the stone with Godok's picture, telling it they'll meet again on the surface. He declares that he's setting out and starts moving upward. After walking for a while, he remembers a book he read that talked about two kinds of people with a bad sense of direction. The first type are those who ignore any doubts and just keep going in the wrong direction because they're not careful. The second type are those who doubt themselves a lot, even when they're going the right way. They keep changing paths and end up hopelessly lost. He realizes he's probably the second type because during his training, he kept asking questions and doubting himself, which got him harsh answers from his master. Despite feeling unsure, he decides to be confident and tells himself he's the second type. He knows if he lets his doubts control him, he'll get even more lost. So he keeps reassuring himself that he's not lost and continues walking on the upward path. As he continues walking, he glances at the path and starts to doubt whether he was going uphill just a moment ago or if it's just in his imagination. Confused, he stops and decides to deal with the question of the wrong path later after moving a bit more. Unexpectedly, he steps on a button on the ground. Lacking self-awareness, he realizes that he falls into the first category, the type of person who doesn't show caution, acts without thinking, and easily gets caught in traps. In this moment, he acknowledges that he might be considered an idiot as he unwittingly triggers the button without any hint of caution. After stepping on the button, Jire immediately falls into the trap. Shocked, he tries to pull himself above, marveling at the trap's cleverness. Suddenly, as he descends, he senses something in front of him. In his wet state from the water in the ditch, he sees a girl holding a staff. He gazes at her in astonishment, questioning in his mind whether she is a person. The girl, noticing Jire's wet and shocked state, smiles and assures him in a friendly tone that she is indeed a person. Jire's expressions shift as his brain struggles to process the sight of another person after so many days. The girl, curious, asks if she appears different in some way. Apologizing, Jire explains that he lost his glasses, affecting his vision, so he can't see properly. The girl playfully points her fingers at him and asks how many, to which Jire immediately responds with 38. He wonders about the presence of a person rather than a monster in the trap, finding it hard to believe that a human would wait in the end of a large-scale trap like this. All of a sudden, a big monster shows up behind the girl. Jire sees it and grabs his sword tightly, getting ready to fight. The girl, still smiling, says again that she's a monster. She doesn't know about the monster behind her, but Jire is ready. Quickly, he uses his sword skills. First the secret sword arts, then another one called Moondream, and cuts the monster into 2 pieces. After defeating the monster, Jire is really excited. He touches the girl's hands to make sure she's a person. Happy to find out she is, Jire looks at her with a big smile and clear excitement on his face can be seen, and the girl also smiles back. The girl sits on the floor and touches the ground with her fingers, feeling it like a groove. She informs Jire about it, who wonders what she means by groove. The girl suggests he touches the ground to feel it himself. She speculates it's likely a magic circle and asks Jire for his opinion. Jire, admitting he's just a swordsman, expresses uncertainty. The girl ponders the situation, while Jire, standing nearby, reflects on how he ended up here. After a brief silence, Jire asks the girl if she's here to conquer the labyrinth. She confirms, mentioning that the church brought her here. Jire wonders if she's now wandering these steps alone. The girl agrees, and Jire, looking at her with empathy, realizes she's been betrayed too. He shares his own experience of being betrayed by his team leader while fighting a floor boss. The girl explains that's not what happened. Jire, confused, asks her to clarify, and the girl thinks she triggered a teleportation trap, something she had read about in adventurer novels. Jire asks if she's feeling disheartened, and the girl replies that it's not the case. The holy knights who accompanied her did a good job. They escorted her to the 4th floor, a place no one had reached before. However, she started feeling sluggish, and it seems she was the only one caught in the trap. Jire, shocked, wonders if she's not an adventurer. The girl confirms this and asks if it's okay to share. After a moment, she tells Jire that she and the Holy Knights came to investigate the labyrinth. Jire, still confused, asks if she means the labyrinth itself. The girl confirms, explaining that the church leader sensed something ominous here about 3 months ago. Unfortunately, she didn't notice at that time because she was lying in bed with a stomach ache from eating too much for lunch. Jire asks if he can request something. The girl smiles and asks, "What is it?" Jire tells her that since she is from the church, she must be able to use sanitation magic. He asks her to fix him up since he looks like a stray dog on a rainy day. The girl smiles and tells Jire that she didn't want to say it first, but he surely stinks like the sludge from a drainage ditch. Jire feels a bit bad and asks if it is not a bit of an exaggeration, but the girl roasts Jire really bad by telling him that he really exactly smells like that. She tells him not to worry and uses her magic on him, and within a few seconds, a flash appears on Jire. Jire feels the particles of dirt flying away from him, thinking that if he had met her just 3 days later, he would have probably reverted to a completely feral state and attacked her without hesitation. However, after a few seconds, Jire looks fresh as if he has just taken a shower. He thanks the girl for saving him and informs her that he feels like a brand new person now. The girl's face looks a bit confused, and Jire asks what's the matter. The girl asks Jire if his eyes are cursed, and Jire asks how she could tell. The girl asks if she is prying too much. Jire feels a bit embarrassed, saying he is not trying to hide something, and he has an idea on how to break the curse, so she does not need to fuss over it. The girl smiles, and Jire again appreciates her, saying he has been impressed by her sanitation magic and her recognition of curses. The girl blushes at Jire's compliments and tells him that he is also pretty impressive himself. Jire stands in confusion, wondering why she is complimenting him, and the girl tells him that this kind of crab monster is quite strong, and Jire defeated it in a single strike, so he is probably even stronger than the Holy Knights. Jire, with a smirk, ready to unleash his sword, says this is the only thing he can rely on. He looks at the 2 monsters behind the girl and immediately uses his sword to charge at them, killing them with 1 strike. Jire smiles and says they can't settle down for a chat here, so he asks her to change location. He asks her if she is okay to come with him, because he knows a safe place. The girl agrees, and they both start walking with big smiles on their faces. Jire tells her his camp is not even 5 minutes from here, but he got swept away by the water, though he knows where it is. Since there were many paths from there, Jire again got lost and went in the wrong direction, which took them 5 hours to arrive at the camp. After walking for 5 hours straight, they both look tired, and Jire apologizes to her for this, asking her to sit on the stones. They both sit beside each other, and the girl says, "Let me formally introduce myself." Jire looks at her, and the girl with the smile introduces herself as Lily Leia of the church. In response, Jire also introduces himself as Jire, and Lily Leia, while laughing, tells him that he can freely call her Lily or Leia, or even Big Sis. Jire wonders why Big Sis, and Lily tells him that despite how she looks, she is actually over 20. Jire, who is 19 years old, starts wondering how she looks so young and if she is really that old. Many questions about her hierarchy, class, and society rise in his brain. Jire asks if he should speak more formally with her, and Lily tells him there is no need for that, because she actually likes this more since the people around her are always so stuffy. Jire apologizes again, and Lily tells him it's fine, expressing her desire to be more frank as well. Jire feels relief and says he would like to talk about his situation. Lily tells him there is no need since she has already heard it. Jire looks at her with a confused face, and Lily informs him that before she entered the labyrinth, a cute, short, gray-haired girl asked her to take care of Jire. Jire wonders if she was Kraa, thinking he thought he was abandoned, but realizing Kraa still has not forgotten about him. He thinks that if it had been him, he would have assumed that someone was dead, especially if they didn't return after 3 whole months, particularly in the hardest labyrinth. Tears fall from his eyes as he realizes Kraa is still certain that Jire would be alive. But Lily informs him that Kraa asked her to bring back, even if it's just a bone from him. Jire understands that now it makes sense since he's been stuck here for so long. It feels good after realizing that at least one of his friends is worrying about him. Lily asks Jire how he is this deep in, and why he is at this place all alone. Jire explains he was knocked down to the very bottom at first, leaving Lily in shock. He says he doesn't know if it was intentional or not, but he ended up being attacked from both sides by the floor boss and a guy from the same party as him. Since then, he has been wandering around, trying to find a way up, but he never managed to find the original floor. As days passed, he started to revert back to a caveman. While mumbling to himself and walking undeterred, he was swept away by water, and suddenly Lily was right before his eyes. With a smile, he thanks Lily for saving him from the curse of the caveman. Lily tells Jire that he is pretty slender for a caveman, and Jire responds, saying it is hard to bulk up when constantly traveling, and he can't build up a large stable stock of food. Lily agrees, saying the guy from Jire's party was such a meanie, and they will protest against him when they get out of here. She tells Jire that she will also go with him. Jire thanks her and wonders if this is really the attitude of a big sister. Jire, then returning to the topic, says even though he starts out on a lower floor, he should be making a fair amount of progress in getting back to the surface over the last 3 months. So, they should be able to make it out of here eventually. Lily, with a smile, asks if that means they just need to keep climbing upwards, and Jire, with a serious face, confirms it. Jire asks Lily if she is aware that there are floor bosses here, and Lily tells him she knows about them. Jire explains he knows the path to the next floor, but there's a big monster he can't beat right now. Jire explains that he has already found the path leading to the next floor, but a monster is blocking it. He mentions that the monster isn't necessarily stronger than him, but it's incredibly tough, and he can't see any weak points to exploit with his sword. Sadly looking at his sword, he informs Lily that if he tried to stab through the monster with his force, his sword would break. Lily asks if having his glasses would make a difference, and Jire responds that he doesn't want to make excuses. The truth is, he admits, he's just inexperienced, and with more skill, he could force his way through. That's why he has been training there for a little while. He adds that it's convenient with a watering hole, so he doesn't have to struggle to find something to drink. Lily asks him in confusion, "What do you mean by watering hole?" and calls Jire blind like a bat. Jire wonders why she's saying this to him. Lily dips her hand in the fluid and asks Jire if he really thought it is water. Jire's facial expressions disappear, and he tells Lily to cut it out because it looks creepy. Lily looks at Jire with a smile and tells him she will clean the inside of Jire's stomach later. And for now, let's go to the chamber. Jire tells her his stomach is hurting right now, and he can't kill that monster. Lily winks at Jire and says Big Sis is pretty amazing herself, so she will help him win with ease. She makes a funny pose, telling Jire that she will make him a real caveman. Jire wonders if she will do this with the enhancement spell. Lily smiles and confirms it. Jire calls it useless, saying he is saving his strength by now, and the real problem is his sword, because it won't be able to withstand his strength. Lily asks if it is cheap, and Jire informs it is so blind. Lily points out that Jire claimed to be a humble swordsman who knew nothing about magic, and she thought he was stronger than the Holy Knight. Jire disagrees, saying he never claimed to be stronger than her Holy Knights, and asks her not to make nice changes to his words. He explains that no matter what kind of sword you use, slamming it with a lot of force can make it shatter. That's why he likes having a spare sword ready, and he bought this one just in case his old one broke. He adds that it wouldn't be a problem if he could find the right place to strike. But before he can finish, Lily cuts in and asks if it's because he doesn't have his glasses. With sad eyes and frustration, Jire agrees. Lily, with a smile, asks Jire how many times it would take to beat the floor boss. Jire, sitting on a stone, answers 1 time. He looks into Lily's eyes and explains that if he can swing with his full strength just once, he could kill it. Lily moves closer, telling him he's very confident. Jire blushes a little, saying he's learned from past experiences, so it's the plain truth. However, he adds that if he does that, he won't have a weapon anymore, making things tougher. Lily sits down in front of Jire, who is holding his sword with a sorrowful look. Lily shows her shining finger to Jire, who looks confused. Lily touches her glowing finger to Jire's sword and says she'll give him a second swing as a bonus. Jire, still confused, looks at his sword. Lily tells him that the magic sword is now incredibly strong and will never break. Jire looks completely shocked. Lily giggles and asks Jire why he's so surprised with her holy magic. Jire stands up, holding his sword, wondering if holy magic is something mentioned in the Church of Rasti's writings. Lily laughs and says it seems like a book for kids to read aloud. That's where she remembers it from, at least. Jire lifts up his sword and looks at its glowing blade with a serious face, wondering what it is. Lily tells him it's not the strongest holy sword, but more like a fake one. Jire expresses his gratitude to her. Lily laughs loudly and wonders if Jire is a knight from 300 years ago. Lily, with a smile, tells Jire that she will hold him to his earlier promise. Lily asks Jire how far the boss is. Jire estimates about 10 minutes of walking. Lily says she supposes it will take around 30 minutes. Jire gets upset that she doubts him, and Lily giggles in response. However, they begin to walk, and after 3 hours, they finally reach the gate. Both of them stand in front of the door, tired, and sweat is dripping from their faces. Lily teases Jire, saying that when someone claims to have been somewhere many times, they should find it a bit easier to get there. Jire, exhausted, admits he can never remember a single landmark and apologizes to Lily. Lily, with a sad and tired expression, asks if they should go now. Jire opens the door and they both see the huge one-eyed monster in front of them. The monster howls, and Jire pulls out his sword, saying it's still a bit too clumsy to call it a direct attack. Lily watches him, wondering what he's up to. Suddenly, Jire looks right into the monster's eyes and charges at it. Lily is shocked by the scary howl, but Jire, not scared at all, uses his skill Thunderbolt and manages to slice the monster's mouth into many pieces. Lily watches Jire fighting nervously, while Jire, after defeating the floor boss, thinks in his mind that he may need more practice. After Jire defeats the monster, he puts his sword away and stretches his neck. Lily, smiling, asks if he's okay and wonders if the coating on the sword was weaker than expected. Jire smiles back and says it's all right. He's just surprised because it's the first time he used that move without breaking his sword. Lily laughs and teases him about talking big, but not delivering. Jire looks at her, realizing she's not ordinary. The spell she used should be too advanced for a regular church member. He wonders if she's as strong as higher-ranking church officials. Lily notices Jire deep in thought and tries to snap him out of it. Jire, lost in contemplation, wonders if a skill like Lily's is hard for someone as young as her. He remembers Lily saying she's 20, thinking she might be a seasoned woman named Lily out with a cute, youthful voice. Lily sits there, wondering why Jire keeps staring at her without saying anything, while Jire, lost in his thoughts, stares at Lily and wonders if he is an idiot. Jire starts looking at the roof, and Lily asks him if he is crying, but Jire tells her he is just feeling a bit shocked. No doubt the last 3 months in the cave alone have transformed Jire truly into an idiot. Lily goes to the dead body of the monster, and Jire looks at her in confusion, asking if she is wondering about what kind of monster it was. Jire, with a disappointed face, tells her that all he can see is a blurry silhouette, so even now he still hasn't figured it out. While looking at the monster, Lily thinks about many different animals, and Jire wonders what she is thinking. Meanwhile, Lily even contemplates the planets and the solar system, finally saying it might be a horse-type monster because it has 4 legs. Jire also thinks that makes sense. Lily suddenly notices something and says that's not all. Jire wonders what she is talking about. Lily stands up and asks Jire if they should keep going as she points her finger towards the door. Jire asks before then if he can tell her something. Lily, with confusion, looks at Jire. Jire, with an embarrassed smile, tells her he has an awful sense of direction. He sadly mentions that he has searched his floor thoroughly, so he thinks the door ahead of them should lead to the upper floors. However, he admits he is not really confident about it. If she thinks they are going the wrong way, he asks her to let him know. Lily walks towards him and holds his hand, leaving Jire in a state of shock. Lily, with a smile, tells Jire that it is all fine, because from now on, they will choose the path together. Lily tells Jire happily that he can count on her because she loves looking at atlases. Jire looks at her in confusion, wondering what atlases are. Lily's face lights up as she tells him not to worry, assuring him that everything will be fine. She starts telling Jire that she rarely leaves her home, like once or twice a year. She mentions that she doesn't really enjoy traveling as well. Jire looks at her, wondering what she is talking about, while Lily just keeps on speaking. She explains that she is a true homebody who really loves being at home, but still enjoys reading travel journals, guidebooks, and whatnot. However, after telling Jire about herself, she smiles and tells Jire that he can rest easily in the boat that is her hands. Jire's expression changes from sorrow to happiness, and he says, "Then it sounds like I'm in good hands." Lily laughs and assures Jire not to worry, whereas Jire has some trust issues as well, because once upon a time he was tricked by his master into boarding a luxury passenger ship, where he was forced to fight desperately against a stupid amount of giant squid monsters. Meanwhile, Lily asks Jire what he thinks about where they should go. Jire responds that his sixth sense is telling him to go to the left. Lily says she was also thinking the same thing. However, there is only one way to go. Lily remarks that it seems Jire and she think alike. Yet when Jire starts to feel worried, there is only one way for him to feel at ease, and that is to keep going forward. In this way, the duo of Lily with double energy and Jire with double strength descended 50 floors in a month's time. They laughed and spent quality time with each other, becoming really good friends in the meantime. With this, the adventure of them continued. Jire lifts up the boat towards the upward surface, with Lily sitting and looking at the roof. Lily mentions they haven't made it to the surface yet. Jire starts breathing heavily, and Lily asks if he is okay, and if she is heavy. Jire tells her that it's fine, and this is just another type of training for him. Lily, after listening to his answer, confirms if he is saying she is heavy. Jire doesn't give her any answer, making Lily feel a bit embarrassed. Suddenly, Jire looks at Lily with a smile and says it's not even enough for training. He can actually feel his whole body losing muscle as they speak. Lily's face glows as she speaks, saying she thought so. Lily says she thinks they have climbed quite a lot and this labyrinth is really deep. Jire, without saying anything, just keeps breathing heavily. Lily becomes frustrated and says she wonders how all the holy knights are doing. She hopes they are not mad that she disappeared. She looks at the roof and says maybe that's a little too selfish to ask. She wonders how she will apologize to them when she gets back, assuming that everyone is going to be mad at her. Meanwhile, Jire, after resting for some time, grabs the boat again and starts walking. He says he has been thinking it might be just his imagination, but he thinks it's about time he mentioned it. Lily wonders what he is talking about, and Jire, after taking long breaths, asks with frustration if they are lost. Lily looks at Jire's face covered with sweat and remains silent. Jire, with frustration, starts speaking. He knows he fell a fairly great distance when knocked down from the 3rd floor, but he doesn't think it was this far. He insists there is no way he fell so far that he would not be able to reach the surface even after climbing upwards continuously for 4 months. Lily tells Jire that it is impossible, but Jire stops her with his hand and says it is tough to recognize their own mistakes, and he is painfully aware of that fact. He asks Lily if she does not think it's the time they should accept their mistake. His frustration increases as he says perhaps they are idiots plowing ahead at breakneck speeds on the completely wrong path. Lily looks at Jire with a serious face and asks if he knows there are 2 types of people with a poor sense of direction. Jire goes silent and listens to her. Lily smiles and points her finger towards Jire, saying the first type are those who continue down a genuinely wrong path. But that's not them. Jire asks for the reason why they are not in that category. Jire states that the whole time they have been traveling, they have selected their paths together based on intuition. Lily then asks Jire how many times they have been divided in their opinions. Jire's eyes widen as he replies not even once. Lily smirks, telling him that there's no way 2 people could consistently choose the wrong path, and the chances of both having a poor sense of direction would be so astronomically low that it would be practically impossible. In shock, Jire asks her if she really thinks like that, starting to doubt that they have already trampled all over. However, Lily continues her sentence, saying the second type of person with a poor sense of direction is someone who is initially going the right way, but becomes overwhelmed with anxiety and intentionally veers off into the wrong path. Hearing this, Jire remains in complete shock, looking at Lily while hiding his face with his hand. He asks her if she thinks that this is what he is doing right now. Lily walks past him and confirms that he is right. She tells Jire that most things will turn out okay in the end if he just sticks it out. Jire asks her what if they stick it out and nothing comes of it. Lily smiles and opens her arms, saying in that case, they will know there's nothing there and return to their original path. Jire looks at her in shock, and Lily notices a big monster behind Jire, her smile immediately disappearing. Jire notices her expressions as he senses something behind him. Immediately, he unleashes his sword and charges at the monster, killing it in 1 strike. He mentions that her answer not only raises 1 good point, but 25 good points. With that, he agrees, and thinks it would be useless to return now after passing more than 120 floors. Lily, with a smile, asks him if he is feeling a bit better. Jire confirms as he bows his head, saying this has been very educational and referring to Leia as an instructor. Lily looks at him with confusion but plays along, smiling suddenly, saying, "Keep on learning, Jire, my boy." Jire blushes as they both look at the path. Lily tells him they have hit a fork in the road. They both point in the right direction together. Looking at each other with a smile, they both answer at the same time, choosing the same direction. With that, they both started going in the right direction, casting away their doubts and continued onward. Little do they know, the path they selected will take them through a ravine untouched by light, leading them even deeper down. In this way, they both stop and start eating food. Lily eats uncooked fish and Jire drinks water. Lily, with a disgusted expression, comments that it tastes so bad and she wants to cry. On the other hand, Jire, after drinking water, exclaims that it is so good. He mentions that it's enough for him, while Lily looks at him and continues eating the fish, expressing how bad it is. But because neither of them could start a fire, they had to eat the uncooked fish. And for water, thanks to Lily and her sanitation magic, she cleaned the water with her skill. After the meal, she uses her magic to clean both of their hands. Jire looks at her with a smile and thanks Lily for helping him. Lily yawns and says now it's time for her to take a nap. She asks Jire if he is going to keep training. Jire confirms it and thinks in his brain that without Lily's help, he would not have been able to defeat that horse floor boss. He says to himself that it is getting tougher and tougher to beat the floor bosses in this area on his own power, and he still has a long way to go. Lily hears him and looks at him with angry expressions. She says to him that she knew Jire still can't accept it. Jire looks at her, wondering if she really listened to everything he said, and tries to explain himself. Lily sits with a sad face, expressing that perhaps she did something uncalled for. She further says how disappointing it is to be thought of as a nuisance. Jire tries to explain to her, saying he was not trying to imply that he does not need help. However, Lily, without hearing him, mentions how she went out of her way to learn magic to assist people. She holds the liquid fluid from the ground and, with a smile, asks Jire about how he tries to drink the swamp water. Upon seeing this, Jire apologizes to her as he realizes she genuinely helped them clean the water, which he drank and liked so much. But he asserts that he is asking for help and wants to work hard to ensure he won't be embarrassed to accept that help. Lily, still smiling, asks him if he wants this water, and Jire says it's just a habit or a kind of self-satisfaction for him. He then asks Lily how about they get back to what started this discussion. He starts explaining to her that he understands people can only carry on because they receive support from others. For example, someone made him glasses and he can't make clean water. He further explains that swordsmen tend to always think about themselves. However, Lily just smiles and says she is kidding. Jire's face remains in shock, wondering if she was joking the entire time. Lily confirms it, laughing, and asks Jire if he has ever been called cute before. Jire confirms he hasn't ever been called cute, and even his master said he is not cute and way too impertinent. Lily agrees, saying she can also see that, which kind of makes Jire feel bad. Lily laughs and says sometimes Jire starts to talk more formally, and it would be better if you were more direct. She laughs, saying she thinks it is cute when he is trying to force himself not to use formal language. Her face glows as she keeps laughing, saying teasing younger men is always so much fun, whereas Jire looks at her annoyingly. Jire gestures, signaling to Lily to drop the topic, and he asks her to go to sleep. Lily agrees and wishes him a good night. After that, Jire starts walking, thinking Lily can be troublesome at times. He keeps repeating this thought. As he reaches the Swampwater River, he sits beside it with crossed legs. While there, he starts contemplating Lily, and his cheeks blush. He wonders if he is in love with her. He thinks to himself that he can't concentrate on training because of that, reminding himself of his master's advice not to get involved with women. He recalls his master, who has been divorced 5 times. 5 years ago, Jire told his master that it was the master who was wrong in the head. Without even thinking, his master worked him several times harder than before. Sitting there, Jire thinks that his master's words hold some weight, and he had been avoiding getting close to women until now. However, he feels it's becoming unavoidable. Reflecting on the 3 months spent alone in the labyrinth without seeing daylight, he recalls prowling around in a dirty state until Lily, a good-natured woman, appeared. He realizes he has already spent a month alone with Lily and has started to develop feelings for her. Gazing at the ceiling, he acknowledges that he has never felt this way before. He had a guardian until 3 years ago, when his master suffered a back injury while fighting a poisonous dragon. He tells himself that he doesn't want to end up like his master. He recalls how his master went on a trip and asked Jire to find an optician or something. Since then, Jire has been walking on his own. People usually see him as his trainee, and many would say unkind things to him. They often challenged him to prove themselves, making it hard for him to get close to women. He thinks to himself that now is his chance, considering how Lily holds his hand after eating and how beautiful her smile is. However, he tries to calm himself down and meditate, because he doesn't want to create any problems. He reflects that even the protective barrier around them is created by Lily to shield them from monsters. He believes it would be unfair to express his feelings under these circumstances, especially when no one else is around to help her if needed. And outside the barrier, there are many monsters. In such a situation, it would be easy for Jire to pressure her for a quick answer. However, he quickly shakes his head to dismiss those thoughts and tries to calm himself. He clears his mind, deciding he will only tell her about his feelings after they have left the labyrinth. Suddenly, as he begins to meditate, a thought crosses his mind. What if Lily is 80 years old? His eyes widen in shock as he considers that the clergy's power peaks in their later years, and a young person couldn't use holy magic so skillfully. He believes Lily might be close to 80 because he has only seen a blurry outline of her body, not even her face. He also assumes that the only reason she holds his hand is for casting spells, not because she has any feelings for him, and he calls himself foolish. In his thoughts, he imagines Lily as a cheerful, merry woman with cute habits and soft hands who smells incredibly good, but is also 80 years old. He convinces himself that there's no doubt about it, and shouts to himself that this is the truth. Suddenly, Lily hears him shouting from behind and asks him what's wrong. Jire gets a great shock because he didn't realize Lily was standing there. Lily complains to him for shouting in her face, and Jire apologizes, asking what's going on. Lily explains she thought Jire might be feeling a bit cold while going to sleep, so she used her magic. Without touching Jire, she creates a warm cover over him, and Jire notices her using magic. Jire suddenly feels warm, and Lily mentions it will last for the next 10 hours, advising him not to stay up too late. Jire wonders if she did the magic without touching him, and he asks her to confirm. Lily replies that she doesn't need to touch him for this magic since she's been practicing, and she tells Jire she's leaving. Jire sits there in shock, questioning why she touches his hands when casting the sanitation spell after they eat. He glances at Lily, who is going back to sleep, and clenches his fist. He mutters to himself that even if she is an 80-year-old woman, with this, we don't really know what Jire is going to do or what is going on inside his head, but their adventure surely continues. Kraa peacefully sleeps, and in her dream she sees Jire falling from a deep place. Suddenly she wakes up, realizing it was just a dream. After getting ready, she leaves her house, reflecting on the past 4 months where her daily routine hasn't changed. She wonders about the holy nights she encountered and hasn't heard anything since. Everything seems unchanged, as if nothing really happened. While running, she thinks of it as a dream only she knows. Pausing to catch her breath, she contemplates how her daily life keeps going like a wheel, with only the seasons changing, and now fall is ending. She takes deep breaths, and suddenly Holland appears, saying young people are impressive. Kraa looks at him and asks if he's doing solo training. Smoking his cigarette, Holland casually mentions it's nothing serious. He's just keeping his kids company as they've been complaining about gaining weight. He explains they are quite far behind, and he left them in the dust without noticing. Kraa hears this while stretching, and Holland continues smoking and taking deep breaths. He observes Kraa and comments on her being covered in sweat, asking how far she runs. Kraa shares that she runs at least an hour each day and does 5 sets of 10 sprints with varying distances and turns included. She mentions that it depends on the day, and today she had planned to do 10 uphill runs without using any special boosts. Holland smiles and praises her, saying that an adventurer who's quick on their feet is a good one. He adds that she might not like hearing it, but Kraa insists that she's okay with it. She looks confused, but Holland advises her not to harm her body too much and mentions that the church can heal most injuries. However, he emphasizes that no matter how skilled she is, once something bad happens, it can be challenging to recover. Suddenly, they notice some church carriages approaching. Holland comments on the timing, calling it "speak of the devil." Kraa agrees, and Holland notes that church followers are used to waking up early. He suggests they've been working hard. Kraa looks at them, pondering, while Holland continues smoking his cigarette. In her thoughts, Kraa wonders if they finally discovered something important. Holland talks to Kraa about how those fancy carriages are not usual in this town, and he thinks they only started appearing last month. He mentions it wasn't the church doing it back then. Kraa wonders if more knights are on the way, and Holland explains that the church also has knights. He says knights usually don't take action unless it's something big, like preventing the fallen king from coming back. Closing his eyes, he takes a deep breath, thinking he might be overthinking it. Meanwhile, Lily looks down, worried she may have caused trouble for Jire. Suddenly, Holland hears his name being shouted from a distance. He stands up and sees his tired children slowly running toward him. They ask how long he's been waiting, and Holland, laughing, calls them lazy while he smokes his cigarette. Kraa just stands still, watching them quietly. Holland says he can't help feeling afraid of things that are both beautiful and truthful. Meanwhile, Holland wishes her good luck. As he leaves, Holland tells Kraa that he believes one day she will become a much better adventurer than him, at the very least. Lily, with a serious expression, promises to give her best effort. After finishing her training, Kraa goes to the home of a holy knight named Arlene, as she was invited by her. Arlene apologizes to Kraa for calling her late at night, and Kraa assures her that it's okay, since she owes her one anyhow. They both take a sip of tea, and Kraa wonders in her mind why Arlene wants to talk to her. Arlene asks Kraa to tell her what happened to their party, if anything. Kraa becomes confused, wondering what Arlene is talking about, and asks her for clarification. Arlene confirms her party had given up on raiding the abyss. Kraa remains in shock and answerless. Arlene wonders if her party did not inform Kraa. With a sorrowful expression, Kraa confirms it, but mentions that she knew in a way. She explains that she asked Godok directly what happened, and Godok replied, stating that they have already given up on that raid. Arlene asks Kraa what happened in that labyrinth, and wonders what could possibly cause a party that climbed all the way to S rank to throw in the towel so easily, especially since they did not lose even a single party member after only trying it once. Hearing this, Kraa's eyes remain wide open, wondering if Jire was never registered with the party in the first place. Meanwhile, Arlene, still unaware of the real situation, takes another sip and says she'd understand if they had suffered large-scale losses, but it just does not make sense to call off the whole raid after one offensive push. Kraa keeps looking down, lost in her deep thoughts and flashing back to all that happened in the labyrinth while Arlene continues speaking. She says all she can imagine is that just like them, these guys must have met with some trouble of unknown origin in the labyrinth. Arlene once again asks Kraa why Godok gave up, but Kraa remains silent, drowned in her thoughts. She wonders if it was probably because Godok accomplished what he set out to do, and maybe it was not just an unforeseen accident. Perhaps from the very beginning, his only goal was to kill Jire. However, she remains clueless about such actions of Godok, pondering if he really needed to kill Jire. Suddenly, Arlene calls Kraa's name, realizing that Kraa had been silent, lost in her thoughts and not attentive to hearing Arlene. After snapping back to the conversation, she gets embarrassed and apologizes to Arlene. She asks if it is trouble of unknown origin, confirmation from Arlene if she heard it right about Arlene mentioning the same happened to her as well. Arlene, looking confused, asks Kraa what she means. After remaining silent for a few seconds, Kraa becomes sad and reveals that during their descent into the abyss, they lost track of one of the four saints, Leia, after she got caught in a teleportation trap. Kraa remembers the saint she saw with the Holy Knights and listens carefully to Arlene. Arlene expresses that it might sound like an excuse, but there was something strange about that dungeon. Kraa, in shock, wonders what was strange, and Arlene tells her that throughout the original exploration accompanied by the saint, they were more on guard than usual, avoiding fights whenever possible and acting with extreme caution. She further explains that the teleportation magic circle was so worn down, it shouldn't have been able to function, yet it activated only when the saint walked over it. Arlene asks Kraa if it doesn't remind her of traps that can only be activated by a specific target, but Kraa declines, saying it doesn't really. Kraa explains that she heard most traps and magic circles in dungeons are naturally occurring and not complex enough to designate a specific target. Arlene, with a serious face, confirms that Kraa is right, and the knights who started out as adventurers have also mentioned the same. She clenches her fist, expressing that she can deal with failure, but cannot tolerate a failure of unknown origin. Arlene informs Kraa that she believes there's something in that labyrinth, and even the investigation was ordered by the four saints themselves. She explains that's why she needs to know what happened to Kraa's party, and why all the other members' lips are sealed. Arlene asks Kraa about why Godot gave up on that raid, and inquires about the dead friendly mentioned when they spoke. Kraa looks down in sorrow, remaining silent, contemplating the incident that occurred in the labyrinth. Arlene insists on her giving answers, asking Kraa what she knows. Kraa sits there silently, with the weight of the incident increasing in her mind every second. The next day, Kraa goes to the restaurant to eat some food, and there she sees a boy whose hair she admires. In her mind, she wonders if he is a boy or a girl. The boy greets her with a smile and asks if he can sit beside her. Kraa moves to the next chair, freeing a seat for him. He sits beside her, apologizing, and Kraa, minding her own business, starts eating noodles. In her mind, while eating noodles, she thinks that Arlene, whom she met last night, was beautiful as well. The boy looks at the menu and smirks. He asks Kraa what is the tastiest thing there. Kraa, in shock, looks at him, realizing he is so close to her. She looks at the menu and tells him that the Hamburg steak meal is a classic dish there. The boy asks Kraa what if it is not his first time here. Kraa looks at him while he is smiling and asks her what she would recommend then. Kraa asks him to wait and let her think. She tells him anything will be tasty here, but the meat dishes are particularly great. She suggests if she had to choose something popular with regular patrons, she does not think he could go wrong with the special. She explains that it comes with 3 servings of pork cutlet and as many refills of rice as he wants, and it is enough to fill the stomach of any man, woman, or child. The boy gets happy as he is ready to give an order, but Kraa immediately tells him it would probably be difficult for someone who does not eat much to finish it off, and if he does not eat everything, the owner gets a little upset. The boy thanks Kraa for telling him, fluxes his hand and says that it is just what he wanted to hear. He smiles and asks the waiter to give him 2 specials. Kraa, the waiter, and even the owner looked at him in shock, wondering if he is really ordering too. The waiter immediately notes his order, and Kraa explains to him that ordering 2 whole servings is insane. This special has buried reckless challengers before, and is enough to satisfy even the hungriest customer. The owner has created this meal specifically with the desire to leave people so full afterward that they would feel like they are about to pop on their way home. She emphasizes that it is the very essence of the owner's love and tenacity. With shock and panic, she tells him that if he leaves something on the plate, the owner will be angry, while the boy remains silent, waiting for his food. Suddenly, the waitress brings his order, 2 specials. Kraa, including the owners, looks at him in shock. The boy assures Kraa not to worry, calling himself a glutton. He starts eating the food, and within seconds, he immediately finishes both plates. Everyone there cannot believe it is really possible, while the boy, with his full belly, tells them the food was good. After eating, he asks the waitress to bring what Kraa was eating. Kraa, with a shocked face, asks him why he is having some noodles, explaining that she doesn't have much of an appetite, which is why she ordered that. The boy thinks while looking at Kraa and says she does not seem like a bad person. Kraa looks at him, wondering what he just said, but the boy just passes her a smile. He then eats the remaining food and thanks Kraa for telling him about a nice meal. He asks the owner to tell him what the bill is, and after paying it in a hurry, he starts walking towards the exit of the shop, muttering to himself that he will settle things himself. Kraa remains sitting on her chair with the food, observing the boy as he exits the shop. Suddenly, after eating at the restaurant, The boy enters the labyrinth and finds Lily and Jire playing thumb wrestling. Lily with a smile and Jire with shock look at him as he greets them. Jire wonders why another person is here and questions if a person can exist in this place. The boy looks at them and thinks that they must have gotten lost, concluding that they are probably good people. The boy tells Jire not to worry, introduces himself as Eunice, and assures them that he is not up to anything shady. Jire and Lily find Eunice to be extremely shady as they sit around the fire he set up. Eunice sits on a stone and asks Jire if his glasses are broken and he can't see anyone's face. Jire confirms it, and Lily and Jire both look shockingly at the fire. After staring at the flames for some time, Lily with a smile tells Jire that fire has finally come to their little village. Jire smiles and agrees. Eunice starts laughing as he hears them talking, and then Jire and Lily both lie down to sleep. However, Eunice asks them if they could wait at least until he is done talking. Lily lying down sleepily mentions the campfire, and Eunice informs them that he can start a fire anytime. He then proceeds to tell them about Kraa of the future plan and the Holy Knights of the 4th Squad, led by Captain Arlene. Jire and Lily both look at him with shock and ask how he knows about them. Eunice smiles and introduces himself as Eunice, the Archmage of the Stars, a one-person search party. In shock, Jire looks at Eunice, and Lily asks if he is famous for being the youngest registered Archmage in history. Eunice smiles and confirms it, expressing a bit of shock that they are close in age, and he thought they would be more aware of each other. He addresses Jire by the name of the Great Slayer of the Toxic Dragon, and Lily by the name of an island-saving saint. Hearing this, Lily and Jire both look at each other in shock, as they were unaware of each other's achievements. Eunice laughs at the surprise that they don't even know about each other despite working together for so long. He wonders what in the world they have been doing all this time. Jire, with a little embarrassment, says, catching fish, drinking tasty water, and thumb wrestling. Eunice, after hearing that, feels like that would be so much fun. Following that, Eunice asks them how they managed to get all the way down here, mentioning that it was easier for him than for the two of them. He reveals that he made use of the magic circle, which teleported St. Lily from the 4th floor and then followed her trail. Lily's face looks surprised, whereas Jire remains confused. Eunice, however, tells Lily that he should be the one getting surprised, because the two of them were not satisfied with simply surviving. They even managed to delve into these depths with just the two of them. Eunice says that the evaluations of them being at the height of humanity in terms of ability certainly were not wrong. Lily blushes upon hearing that, while Jire looks at the roof and then shouts loudly, expressing he knew they were still descending. Lily looks at him with disappointment and asks him to count this as a valuable learning experience. Jire questions if she is going to turn it around on him. Angrily, he states that he always agrees to everything, so the person who listens to him is also at fault. Growing more agitated, he loudly insists that everyone should take responsibility for their actions. Lily looks at him for a while, then smiles, apologizing to him and acknowledging that he is right. Defeated and lying on the floor, Jire reflects that the one who initially went in the wrong direction was none other than himself. They share equal responsibility for their travels together, but everything before that was entirely his fault. He worries that if Lily decides to point that out, he might have to grovel on his knees. However, Lily begins to point out that she was the one who started going in the wrong direction, but Jire cuts her off and shouts to Eunice, asking if he is here to rescue them. With a smile, Eunice confirms that he had assumed they would encounter a floor boss on a higher level, putting them at a disadvantage, and as a result, they were simply stranded. However, he did not expect to find them so deep down. Eunice asks them, wondering if they were planning to conquer this place by themselves, but Jire refuses and informs him that was not their plan. Eunice continues, saying if they were planning to do that, then his proposal is quite off the mark. Hearing this, Jire gets annoyed, repeatedly saying no and losing control of his emotions. He sheds tears, expressing that's not what they were doing. It's just that they both have poor senses of direction. Jire explains that they have been trying to climb out the whole time, but instead, they kept going deeper and deeper. With a sad face, he allows Eunice to laugh at them if he wants to. However, upon hearing this, Lily starts laughing loudly, and Jire angrily tells her that he didn't ask her to laugh. Eunice starts thinking, and Jire wonders what he is thinking about. Eunice tells them it's nothing, smirks, and says it's an interesting coincidence that they both have poor senses of direction. Jire expresses a bad feeling about it, but Eunice assures him it's completely unrelated. He just happens to know about both of them. Eunice reveals that Jire is the innocent swordsman hero who slayed the toxic dragon that had appeared in an eastern country, and Lily is the saint who prevented an island from sinking. Jire mentions that his master helped him, and Lily adds that she also had the help of the islanders. But Eunice, with a smile, points his finger at them and asks if they know anything about him. Lily guesses if it has something to do with the stars, and Jire asks if he is the youngest archmage in history. Eunice tells them that it's outside his wheelhouse, so he doesn't really know. Lily wonders if Eunice is the one who created a new kind of magic or something. Eunice, still smiling, confirms it as he starts using his magic with his fingers. He explains that there are a few specific requirements for something to be considered magic, and he wonders how he can explain it to them, making some orbits of stars in front of them. Eunice says if he were to follow their leads and act modestly, he would say that he has only made it this far thanks to meeting his master early on. Confused, Jire asks Eunice to hold up and inform him that he couldn't follow what Eunice is talking about. Eunice explains to Jire in simpler words that his magic draws powers from the stars. Jire finds it hard to believe, and Eunice reveals that he holds the title of an archmage, allowing him to use this power even in places where the light of the stars doesn't reach. He mentions being able to use his magic in their current location. Jire's curiosity rises, and he asks Eunice with frustration to get to the point already. Holding his shirt, he gets angry, stating that his heart is about to burst. Eunice smiles and asks if that's true. He responds with a big smile and a thumbs up, saying he's happy to help in a place like this, but mentions his power is reduced by 80%, making him completely useless. Upon hearing this, Jire loses his patience for a moment and shouts loudly, expressing his need for a break. Here we have a unique trio: a swordsman with a poor sense of direction, a clergy with a poor sense of direction, and a new mage who is also not lesser than an idiot. A full set of idiots lost here in the deeper floors of the labyrinth, but at least now they know they were always going in the wrong direction. Eunice walks on the swamp water and wonders if they have been stuck on the floor for the last 3 weeks. Jire confirms it and shows Eunice the real problem. They point to a huge door which amazes Eunice. Jire tells Eunice that even when he hit it with the sword, there was no response. Eunice just stands there staring at the door, and Lily also confirms what Jire just said. However, Lily tells Eunice that she knows there is something like a magic circle carved into the surface of that door, but she can't see it clearly because it's solid black. Eunice agrees, and Lily asks if he can draw it for her. With a smiley face, Eunice agrees and calls it easy. He uses his power and starts generating blobs of water around. Jire remains in shock, wondering what the heck is happening. Meanwhile, the water splashes down and Eunice controls it with his power. Jire asks Eunice what that is, and Eunice, standing beside him, smiles and answers that it's a fairly insignificant spell. He explains to Jire that he generated some water to fill the depressions on the surface of the door. After that, he pressed it against the ground, making sure the shape remains unchanged as they turn the page on the book. Lily moves forward as the magic circle appears clearly in front of them. Eunice looks at the circle, confused, and asks Lily what kind of magic circle it is. Jire just stands there, confusion at its peak, as he does not know what they are talking about. However, Eunice wonders if Lily knows about this, considering the coincidence that brought them all the way here. Lily denies it, saying she is not sure if it is a coincidence, but she never imagined it would be so clear. An apocryphal magic circle and an apocryphal beast. Eunice thinks about it, and Lily, with a serious face, reveals that it feels like this labyrinth was likely built by someone linked to the fallen king. The Rosti region has separate scriptures known as Apocrypha, distinct from the canonical scriptures. It's not meant for moral teachings or narrative tales. Instead, it details the ancient story of the fallen king, the great enemy aiming to destroy God and the world, and the intense battle with the apostle of God, Rosti. Returning to the story, Eunice playfully teases Lily and Jire about their terrible sense of direction. Jire, annoyed, warns Eunice not to wander off on his own, to which Eunice responds with laughter, declaring himself a part of the group. Eunice highlights how Lily and Jire consistently went in the wrong direction for the past 4.5 months, but still managed to defeat several floor bosses. Lily wonders if this makes them apocryphal beasts. Meanwhile, Jire, looking clueless, listens as Eunice explains that these beasts were used by the fallen king. During his battle with Rosti, some theories suggest these creatures were actually part of the fallen king. Eunice adds that these beasts were so formidable that it took an entire army to defeat just one, and some greater beasts could rival a whole country in power. Jire, with a slightly disappointed expression, concedes that it makes sense, while Lily shoots him an annoyed look. Lily teases Jire, asking if he finds it all a bit exaggerated. Jire, looking confused, clarifies that he's not saying it's a lie, but doesn't seem entirely convinced. Lily playfully pokes Jire's cheeks and reveals that the horse monster he killed is called a nightmare and classifies it as a lesser beast. Jire, shocked, wonders if what he defeated was really a lesser beast, and asks Lily to explain what apocryphal beasts are. Lily shares that she thought these creatures were destroyed by Apostle Rosti a long time ago. Jire questions if that means the rumors are true, and if there are surviving beasts, or if the fallen king created the labyrinth. Eunice chimes in, saying they are getting close to the truth, and at the very least there are some lingering traces here. The magic circle etched into the door is also mentioned in the Apocrypha. Lily questions Jire if he recognizes the magic circle, mentioning it as a holy magic she has seen a few times before. She believes it's a magic circle Rosti used, recorded only in the original and first 7 copies of the Apocrypha. Eunice, puzzled, asks Lily if she doesn't refer to Rosti as apostle, to which Lily confirms and explains her discomfort with that title. Lily notes that the magic circle is not exactly the same, emphasizing it's not a normal protective spell. She clarifies that it doesn't just prevent outsiders from entering, but also stops whatever's inside from getting out. Jire questions if it's a spell cast by Rosti. Wouldn't it be better not to break it? Eunice responds that it's not necessarily the case, as there must be a key to breaking the spell. Lily agrees with this perspective, and Jire contemplates the idea of a key in his mind. Eunice shares that Rosti's identity is uncertain, questioning if she was even a person. He mentions that someone like her should have been able to construct a perfect magic circle. Eunice explains that the magic circle is complex, but has been designed to allow it to be broken by a holy magic user of a certain level and a magic analyst. It's a spell meant to be broken. Jire wonders what it means, and Eunice ponders if this labyrinth is truly linked to the fallen king. He explains that it has become a checkpoint accessible to Rosti herself, or another holy magic user, implying that it excludes those who are not loyal to the fallen king. Jire and Lily gaze at him curiously, and Eunice confesses that he doesn't know the exact implication of this. Disappointed, Jire declares he's going to bed, and Lily chuckles, appreciating it as an amusing Archmage joke. She agrees with Eunice that they lack sufficient clues for now. Eunice holds Jire, suggesting they might not have all the information yet. Eunice asks Jire if he has any knowledge as an adventurer. He questions whether Jire researched anything about the labyrinth before entering, to which Jire, looking a bit confused, responds that he doesn't know anything. Eunice laughs and queries if Jire studied the layout. Annoyed, Jire emphasizes that he's not and never has been an adventurer. He was just an outsider. The most he heard about the labyrinth is how strong the monsters inside are. Eunice remarks that it seems Jire hasn't even registered as an adventurer yet. This revelation infuriates Jire, thinking about how much of a trickster Godok is. Eunice adds that he entered such a restricted area. Jire will likely be detained and fined the moment he leaves. Jire sits there in distress, and Lily, smiling, comments on how sorry she feels for Jire the more she learns about him. Eunice, contemplating the situation, agrees, and Jire frustratedly remarks that they've talked so much about this. Lily suggests that it seems Godok was overly prepared for this, and had planned something for Jire from the beginning. Eunice contemplates this, and Lily asks Jire if he has any ideas. Angrily, Jire responds that he doesn't know anything that would make Godok lie to him. Eunice straightforwardly states that he has a hard time believing Jire is an unfortunate idiot. Jire retorts angrily, suggesting that it would be better if Eunice didn't think that way. Eunice expresses his thoughts, saying that one could argue Lily and he were thrown in here on purpose, but Jire, being the greatest swordsman of an era, is too significant to be involved in this matter by accident. Jire, with a frustrated face, mentions that he is not that strong, as he has never beaten his master. Eunice compliments Jire, acknowledging him as the strongest for defeating the apocryphal beast single-handedly, even without fighting at full strength due to not wearing his glasses. Jire feels embarrassed and tells Eunice not to mention that. In his thoughts, Jire reflects on this and starts feeling proud of his strength. Suddenly, Lily hits his finger, warning him that pride is the enemy. Jire experiences pain, shouts, and questions if ganging up on him is the latest trend. Eunice suggests stopping the teasing for now and proposes that the 3 of them go through the door. Jire and Lily express shock as Eunice proposes going back through the door. Jire, in his thoughts, considers it lame to backtrack after coming so far to conquer the labyrinth. Despite his initial resistance, Jire agrees with a smile, but Lily doesn't seem satisfied. She questions the delay and worries about their safety. Eunice reassures her, mentioning that he informed Arlene in advance about the possibility of a delayed return. Eunice suggests that instead of going to the surface, it might be faster to reach the deepest floor and then use mana from there for teleportation. Jire wonders if teleporting to the entrance is possible, and Eunice confirms it. Lily agrees, raising her hand, and Eunice, with a smirk, remarks on the suspicious nature of the labyrinth. Eunice reveals that 3 saints asked him to investigate the labyrinth's interior when he had spare time. He emphasizes the uncertainty of the effort and time needed to reach this depth again, suggesting that their current collective strength is a unique opportunity. Jire proposes making a deal with themselves, expressing that he and Lily have come this far on their own. Lily agrees, and Eunice, with a big smile, declares his intention to join them, making them an invincible trio. Eunice mentions ominous predictions by the Magic Federation and the discovery of apocryphal beasts and magic, adding that something significant seems imminent. He looks towards the roof and asks Jire and Lily for their assistance in facing whatever challenges lie ahead. Lily happily takes Eunice's hands and expresses her gratitude for his timely arrival, looking forward to working together. Jire, also smiling, thanks him, acknowledging that Eunice saved him from wandering aimlessly with Lily. To decide their way, they decide to play rock, paper, scissors. However, Jire points out that he's at a disadvantage because he can't see what the others choose. Lily suggests he touch their hands to feel their choices, leading to a playful argument about who will decide and how. In frustration, Jire and Eunice declare that they are incredibly useless. Eventually, Jire suggests that they all go in different directions and then reconvene at the same spot. Lily and Eunice are astonished at Jire's suggestion, but Jire proposes a race. Whoever makes it back first becomes their guide. Eunice finds the idea exciting, and the trio sets off in different directions. Surprisingly, Eunice claims the first place, returning within 3 hours and 56 minutes, followed by Jire in second place at 5 hours and 12 minutes. Lily arrives last after 8 hours and 38 minutes. Eunice and Jire express disbelief that Lily made it back, and she tearfully admits her joy at finally returning. Eunice, also emotional, contemplates the human condition, wondering if there could be anyone more useless than him. Jire, relieved that everyone returned safely, expresses his happiness. The day after, opinions about Jire are divided, with accusations of him being cautious and lacking appeal. However, the door blocking their way opens the next day, emitting a solemn sound, revealing the path to the deepest level. Jire, while looking at the roof, questions himself if he really needs to be at this party. Lily and Eunice look at him with confusion, whereas it's been a month since this trio has been together, and after the arrival of Eunice, their adventure has really smoothed out. In the beginning, they acted meek, as Jire took care of the monsters, and Eunice just followed along until he got used to things. But before long, Eunice gets the hang of things, and their party becomes one of the strongest ever. In the present time, Eunice with this magic rains down a scale of light, and all the monsters die in this rain within a second. With a sad face, Jire shows gratitude for Eunice's magic as they haven't encountered a single monster lately. However, he makes a crying face, saying he feels genuinely useless. Lily, in an attempt to make him feel better, says it doesn't seem like her sanctuary barrier is needed all that much either. No one really gets hurt anymore, and besides, Eunice can create something similar to it anyway. She points out that they both use light, meaning they fill the same criteria. Jire also starts crying, saying that now that she mentions it, his secret sword technique has a name associated with the moon and the stars are closely related to. Eunice asks him not to say something so sad, or else he will also start crying. He mocks him and then starts laughing, but with a smile he apologizes and informs that he was feeling a little left out. Jire says to Eunice that he might be the type to easily succumb to loneliness. Eunice informs that it was inevitable, and he is looking forward to meeting them both from the bottom of his heart. He looks upward and says it's the first time he has walked together with two people the same age as him. He laughs loudly and says deep down, he is happy that he can barely stand it, and it's like being on a field trip. Lily comments on Eunice, saying he is so cute, and Eunice asks them if they have ever been on a field trip. They both answer that they have, and Eunice tells them she entered the Grand Library when she was very young. Eunice informs that he never had the chance to do stuff like that, and Jire wonders if that's the sort of place they need to enter when they are young. Eunice informs them it's not like that. Actually, in his case, he was able to get in because his master had close ties to the Grand Library, and it's quite rare for someone of that age to make it into the heart of a place like that. Lily, with excitement, confirms that that means this is Eunice's first trip. Eunice agrees, and they both start walking around with excitement. Jire, with a disappointed face, tells them not to let their guard down, thinking to himself that they have tripled their fighting power since that time. However, since it's the hardest labyrinth, they should not let their guard down. Eunice and Lily agree, but Eunice tells them that the three of them are the best in their fields, and he is not even being optimistic when he says their party is the strongest. He informs that if they can't manage to make it through this labyrinth, then mankind has yet to reach the peak of their abilities. He further says their current state is only natural, and it would be more terrifying if the three of them were holding back. Lily, with a smile, says Eunice is really long-winded. Eunice laughs and says he is a narcissist, and Lily confirms, while laughing, that the price of their talent is having ultra-poor senses of direction. Eunice declines, saying he is not that bad, and Jire, with an annoying face, tells Lily that the Ultra is only her. Lily shouts, saying she doesn't want to be the only one. However, after that, Eunice, with this magic, sets fire, and they start eating. Eunice, while eating an awful fish, asks why all the S-rank parties stopped at the 3rd floor. Lily, munching, looks at him, and Eunice continues, saying they were all practically the best of their respective eras, and he feels like they should have been able to make it this far in due time. But Jire gulps the fish and says the 3rd floor boss is just way too strong. Eunice and Lily both look at him with curiosity, and Eunice asks again if it was really that strong. Jire confirms it and says he seriously thought he might die. He further says that assuming that was an apocryphal beast, then that one had to be the greatest one. Eunice asks if it was stronger than the nightmare, and Jire confirms it with certainty. Eunice says that's different from what he heard, and asks Jire if that was before the transformation. Jire informs them that its first phase was about as strong as that nightmare thing, and it's what comes after that was truly horrific. He gets those flashbacks as he tells them that if he hadn't raised his rank by slaying that toxic dragon, he definitely would not have won. Lily asks if he had that experience back then, and Jire confirms, saying he really would have died without that experience. Jire wonders if she has really gone through the same thing, and Lily confirms it, saying she had a ton of little kids ask her, and they acted like Lily was lying. She informs that in frustration and annoyance, she ends up telling them it was a lie, and Jire remains confused. Eunice thinks about it and says despite not being believed, she still explained what it's like. Lily calls Eunice's name, and Eunice apologizes, saying he got lost in thought. Eunice adds that he has no definitive proof right now, so he might be overthinking. Lily, with detective humor, comments that it's what someone would say who is about to die in a detective novel. Jire, with a smile, also agrees. Suddenly, they see the next door, and Jire angrily says it's his turn. They start walking towards the last door, leading into the deepest floor of the hardest labyrinth that would take a total of 10 days to unseal. Little do they know, after 2 days, 2 of these people would lose their lives. On the other hand, Kraa is in shock, looking at her burned house. Holland appears with a cigarette in his mouth and a packet in his hand. He feels sorry for Kraa and gives the packet to her. Kraa thanks him and takes the packet. Holland asks if she is hurt, and Kraa informs him that she is not. She mentions that last night she was doing some clerical work at the party lodgings. Holland asks if the knights are investigating, and Kraa informs him that no, a holy knight is supposed to take a look for her. Holland wonders if they are related, as he informs Kraa that Godok also disappeared last night. With a shocking look, Kraa looks at Holland's face, and he informs her that all the guys got together and went looking for Godok, but they haven't found a single trace of him yet. He advises Kraa to get out of this town, and Kraa wonders why he is saying this. Holland explains that there have been eyewitness reports that an Archmage entered the ruins, and it was the Archmage of the stars of all people. Originally, their party was just A rank, and the rank was forcefully raised due to Godok's magic sword. So, to be perfectly honest, he always thought raiding Abyss was too much for them to handle. But now, things could get even worse as he is starting to see there could be more to the story. Kraa wonders what more and asks about the other party members. Holland, after a little bit of silence, says they can't leave. He tells her that ever since Godok picked up that magic sword, they have all been subservient to him. He informs with frustration that they all have things they need to protect, and advises Kraa not to become one of them. Holland tells Kraa that it's too soon for her to be suffocating from her own regrets. Suddenly, Arlene appears, saying if that's what Holland feels, she orders him to tell her everything. With a smirk on his face, Holland reveals Future Plan was not always the kind of party it is now, and they used to have a great time killing monsters together. He informs that they might be unrefined, but they used to prevail with strategy and teamwork. He sees flashbacks of them adventuring and having fun together, remembering how good the time was. With happy memories in his eyes, he states from his mouth that it was the best party. Holland, with Arlene and Kraa, goes to a restaurant. As the 3 of them sit at the table, Holland further tells them that a long time ago, Godok was not that kind of guy, and he was a good leader. While holding his cup, they had the best time when they were at a B-rank party. He informs that the main members of their current lineup joined around that time, and they had not been able to demonstrate their full power with other groups. Their party was like a rehabilitation center for guys like them. He tells Kraa that Godok had that kind of ability. Kraa wonders then why he stabs one of his allies in the back. Holland, with a cigarette in his mouth, says that's a good question, but he has no doubt that picking up that magic sword was the trigger. After that, he completely changed. Kraa questions where he found the magic sword, and Holland tells her it was in the middle of the floor of an A-rank labyrinth that's similar to the depths of the ocean called Deep Depths. Arlene thinks about it and says she has read about it in reports, asking if there was a place filled with high salinity water. Holland confirms it, and Arlene says she can't claim that she knows much about it, but wonders if magic swords are typically found in places like that. Holland declines it and says labyrinths are not that special. And generally, if you want to find something like a magic sword, you'd need to scour prehistoric ruins. He reveals that he figured out that it was something left by a dead person. Kraa asks with a little shock, "Left by a dead person?" And Holland confirms it. He further informs that in A-rank labyrinths like that, if a party is wiped or retreats, they will often leave behind supplies and other things. However, a magic sword would definitely be their most valuable asset, so there's no way someone would just discard it when retreating. Arlene guesses then it must be from a dead person, and Holland confirms it. He further informs that once Godok had obtained his magic sword, the only thing holding them back, their lack of combat strength, disappeared. They were able to get certified as an S-rank party without a hitch, but there was always something off about Godok since then. He tells that he'd known him for a long time, but Holland still had people he needed to protect, so he submitted his resignation from the party before anything major could happen. However, after that, one day he got home in the evening and saw Godok sitting on the table with his children. With a smirk, Godok tells Holland that he has a great family and he is looking forward to working with him for years to come. Holland agrees, and while blowing cigarette and looking at the cup of tea, he says he had people he needed to protect. Kraa asks if that's the reason why no one lifted a finger on Godok when Godok did that to Jire. Holland, with a little sorrowful expression, says he expects so. Arlene says no wonder no one spoke out. Kraa raises her hand and tells that she knows this is their fault, but asks if Holland is okay for what he is talking about the stuff, and asks what about his family. Holland tells her that the Holy Knights have been hanging around their house for the last couple days. He tells so if Godok happens to come near, he does not imagine that they'll just stand around and watch. He questions Arlene if he is right. Arlene smiles and compliments Holland that he has got sharp eyes, and informs reinforcements arrived just a few days ago. Holland takes a sip and winks at her, and questions what these recent incidents have to do with them. He asks why is the church taking action. Arlene shares that the Holy Knight commanders suspect the fallen king is related to the situation at hand, and Holland confusedly asks her what she is talking about, wondering if that's not just a fairy tale. He angrily asks what do apocryphal scriptures from thousands of years ago have to do with what is going on now. Kraa questions if the fallen king is really around in the present today. Arlene says she understands what they are saying, but even now she does not have a clear answer. But she tells the three saints suggested as much that simultaneously, the Magic Federation has also had the same kind of feeling. She further explains that among the observers is that famous Archmage. Holland puts his hand on his face, wondering what is going on. He asks if she means that Godok is also connected with the fallen king somehow. Arlene says that's the assumption for now, and Kraa looks at the cup of coffee. Hearing Arlene say this is just a hypothesis, but if they look closely at the timeline, she thinks it's likely that the magic sword, which reduces things to nothingness, is the fallen king. Kraa suddenly asks them what that noise is as she feels something, and notices that the coffee in the cup is also moving. Suddenly, they rush outside and see an instrumental apocryphal beast. On the other hand, in the labyrinth, Jire slices the monster in between with his sword. Eunice looks at him and says he is the useless one now, and Jire smirks, saying now he understands how he felt before. Ever since they went through that second door, he has had the undeniable feeling that these beasts are incredibly strong. The monsters became so formidable that they were undaunted by Eunice's magic, and strong enough to destroy a small village on their own. Jire questions them if it is really a deep labyrinth, and thinks about which floor they are on, guessing they are on the 170th floor. He wonders how many floors there are in total, giving a guess of 200 floors. Eunice gives his guess, saying there will be 216 floors. Jire questions why such a half-assed number, and Eunice tells him it's 6 cubed. Lily looks at the roof and says she thinks they are almost at the end. Eunice and Jire both look at Lily, and Lily immediately confusingly tells them it's just a hunch, because the saint says she has a hunch. Eunice laughs, saying that's a convincing argument, and Lily runs behind Jire angrily to punch him. She punches at him, saying she feels much better when she is at home. Jire lies on the ground and says maybe this is what the labyrinth experience is supposed to be. Lily confirms that adventurers have it hard, and Eunice says that in that case, it's definitely not the kind of place you would want to delve into too many times, unless he is with reliable people like Lily and Jire. Jire, in his brain while lying there, thinks if he had continued this adventure accompanying future plan, he'd never have made it this far, and he knows they simply wouldn't have the strength necessary to deal with multiple beasts on the floor. He thinks to himself that it's these three who could just go this deep into the labyrinth and says maybe there's a point to this after all. Lily suddenly notices saying something. Jire looks at her and tells her he is just talking to himself. Lily tells him he talks a lot with himself, and Jire wonders if he really is. Lily comes closer to him and tells him with a smile he surely does. Eunice smiles and says he is so envious and wishes he could have joined the adventure earlier. Jire says it's a childish thing to say, but Eunice says it's always been his dream to have friends of his age. Lily laughs and says then let's exchange letters after they get out of here, and tells Jire it also goes for him as well. Lily blushes a little and questioningly says, sure. Seeing this, Eunice says sadly that they have a cold-blooded person here. Jire tells her no, it's just that once he gets out of here, he will be back to traveling, so even if he sends something, it will be hard to get it delivered. Lily tells if she writes down where he will be headed next, then she can just send it to the mail shop in that town. And Jire wonders if that kind of service even exists. Lily winks and tells him her writing is so cute it will leave him trembling in surprise. Jire keeps on blushing, whereas Eunice, with tears in his eyes, asks Jire if he will do that for him. Eunice says he will send Jire 7 letters a week with a cipher so he can fully enjoy them. Jire, with an annoyed face, wonders why he has to complicate things so much. Eunice and Lily both smile, whereas Jire stands there in confusion. After that, the three of them look at the bigger gate in front of them. Eunice says if Lily's words are to be achieved, they will soon be through the labyrinth. Lily says it's taken so long that she has started to become numb. Eunice and Lily both raise their hands and say, let's proceed without getting overconfident. Jire puts his hand on the door and asks them if they are ready. Eunice with a smile says whenever, and Lily with a punch pose says wherever. Jire in his brain thinks that compared to that horrible beginning, this adventure isn't so bad. He tells them all right. Jire with excitement says open sesame and starts opening the gate. Suddenly he sees something, leaving him totally astonished and shocked. Suddenly, after opening the door, Jire pushes Eunice back and sees a big flying monster in front of him that takes a strike at them. Lily with her magic shield stops it and protects Eunice, but Jire couldn't defend it and he gets hit, causing his death. Suddenly, a magical event occurs and Jire feels as if his soul is escaping. Time starts rewinding for a single second. Within Jire's shattered body and consciousness, one thing remains, his soul. There is a dazzling light in front of him that looks like it may explode, but Jire manages to reach out his hand as if grabbing hold of that soul. In a stance he had imagined countless times before, that he had visualized countless times before. So much happens within this short period. Jire uses his killer technique to strike that monster, and with his secret sword Eris, using his skill Moondream, he manages to kill the monster. Suddenly he sits down, breathing heavily, covering his face with his hand, sweating immensely. He wonders what the hell just happened. He says he remembers the instant he entered the boss room and the floor boss caught him off guard with just one attack, killing him. He wonders how he is alive. He looks at his hand, shivering, as he hears Lily's voice telling Eunice not to move. Eunice lies there in blood, and Lily tells him he really overdid it, instructing Eunice not to talk as she uses her magic. And within seconds, Eunice is healed up. Eunice smiles and says he thought he was a goner for sure. He tells them he really was dead, and informs Jire that it was just like he said. Pride leads to pain. Jire asks him what the hell happened earlier, and Eunice explains he turned back time by 1 single second. Lily and Jire look at Eunice with complete shock, and Lily asks if that's the new magic he mentioned before. Eunice laughs and says she got it right. It was the primary factor in him being certified as an Archmage. He tells them it's a new technique he found at the very end of the stars. He looks at the roof, imagining stars, and says he usually has to pay more attention to the alignment of the stars and do a bunch of troublesome preparation to pull it off. But this time, he did it by force. He tells he can only rewind a brief amount of time, so he is really glad that Jire beat the floor boss in that single-second window he could provide them. With a smile, he further says he is glad their struggle didn't prove to be in vain in the end, and tells Lily that if she had not protected him, he would not have been able to recite the full incantation. He tells her that the organs he blew up served as payment for the technique, and would not have come back. Jire sitting there giggles as he suddenly notices the term organs. He wonders what that means, and Eunice, to explain, tells him that as this is a cave and he used that spell on a place with no mana from the stars, the only thing he could bet on was his own life force. With a laugh, he says the aftermath was pretty incredible, and his insides burst like a balloon with a resounding pop. Jire feels a little scared hearing this, and he tells Eunice that it sounds way too intense and suggests he take a nap. Eunice thanks Lily for helping him, saying he is feeling downright invigorated. He mentions that people should be calling Lily a great saint rather than just a saint. Lily agrees, saying they should say that as they already have a hero and an archmage and she is the only one without a grand name. Lily looks at Jire saying he can't say that now, not after losing like that. He thinks he was going to kick the bucket. He actually did, but if Eunice had not been there, he would have been dead. Lily also sits, looking a bit terrified, saying she is so discouraged that she does not want to move anymore. Eunice laughs loudly and says this is kind of getting hard. Jire with a straight face says thank you to both of them, and Lily and Eunice with a smile say he is welcome. The trio sits there together, tiredly on the ground. Eunice asks Jire if from here on out he thinks he can keep beating the floor boss like he did before. Jire thinks about it for a second and then lowers his head, saying he has no idea. With a sad face, he says he defeated the one just now with the effects of, and Eunice tells him he gets what he means. Lily with a smile says his rank grows immensely. Jire says at that time, he thinks he was able to immediately use time reversal because of the effects of the awakening right after the experience. 3 times now, folks like Jire have gone through something called the experience. Nobody's really put a clear definition on it, but whether you're facing life or death situations or overcoming tough times, or even delving into the big truths like mages do, this experience thing happens. After going through it, people's abilities shoot up big time. For a short while, they get into this state called awakening, where they can do crazy things. Jire, for example, turned the whole battle around with one powerful strike, and that was probably because of this experience thing. And it's not just a short-term boost. Climbing up the ranks for a long time helps them grow in a huge way, putting them on a totally different level than before. Sure, if they keep growing the normal way, they could still get that powerful, but thanks to the experience, they fast-track their way there. Whether or not someone has had this experience really shows how good swordsmen and mages actually are. The experience makes the journey to becoming super powerful a whole lot quicker. Eunice looks upwards and Jire says, "Let's turn back," as he asks after having the experience if one's abilities increase, but the effects of the awakening have already dissipated. Eunice and Lily confirm it, and Jire thinks he can think of himself as having the same level of power as his master, from the time when he fought the toxic dragon. Eunice asks him if he is confident that, without the effects of the awakening, he can encounter a floor boss. Jire, with a stressed face, tells him he is definitely not. In his brain, he thinks back to when he got split in two by that beam of light. It wasn't because he was being careless, but in a contest of pure strength, he was swatted like a bug. The world is a big place, and he is still inexperienced. It's because he is aware of that fact that he speaks with his head, saying that while there is life, there is hope, and it might take them a while to get back to the surface. He lifts up his face and says that is far better than never making it back. Eunice finds it a reasonable suggestion, as he would like to do that, but he asks Lily if she has something in mind. He asks her if she knows how powerful the recent floor boss was. Lily thinks about it and then says it was a middle beast. Jire looks at her in shock, and she tells him furthermore it was below average in terms of combat ability. Listening to this, Jire feels traumatized as he didn't imagine how powerful they are. Lily begins to explain that orchestras are a species of words, and handling them is incredibly difficult because each falls between a lesser and middle apocryphal beast in its own right. According to Rasti, they operate in groups, and if their commander is taken down, victory becomes attainable. Jire and Eunice contemplate this, and Eunice questions if Rasti is genuinely about to come. Lily expresses uncertainty, prompting Jire to wonder if it might be a different species. However, Lily asserts her certainty, explaining that apocryphals always have a number written on their bodies, indicating their species, and in this case, it's an orchestra. Jire reflects on Lily's earlier statement, acknowledging that it's classified as a middle apocryphal beast, yet in terms of strength alone, it appears to be a lesser beast. Despite attempting humility, Jire realizes he overestimated his own strength and succumbed to pathetic pride. He grapples with the realization that there are individuals who never accept defeat and grow stronger, but he doesn't identify with that mindset. Observing Jire lost in thought, Lily wonders if he is feeling depressed. Meanwhile, Jire contemplates whether the beast that killed him was one of the less powerful types. Despite his attempt at humility, he acknowledges his own foolish overestimation of strength. As Lily looks at Jire, who is seemingly lost in thought, she wonders if he is on the verge of tears. However, Jire clarifies that he is not depressed. He suggests that given their potential inability to handle a greater apocryphal beast, it would be prudent for them to turn back. Eunice agrees with Jire, and Lily inquires if something is bothering Eunice. He concurs and raises a question about the third boss floor. Specifically, Eunice asks if Jire personally defeated it. Jire confirms this and details how the floor collapsed due to Godok's magic sword, leading to Jire killing the monster while falling. Eunice seeks clarification on whether the third floor boss fell with Jire and engaged in the fight, rather than simply perishing after leaving the boss chamber. Jire affirms that they both fell from the boss chamber. Eunice inquires that the floor boss had a number written on it, prompting Jire to jot down the number, after which Eunice seeks Lily's input on the matter. Lily examines the number and states that it belongs to one of the lesser beasts, but it possesses considerable power, even surpassing that of the nightmare. Eunice adds that in essence, the beast Jire defeated wasn't the third floor boss. This revelation leaves Jire in complete shock as he grapples with the implications. However, The deeper one ventures into the labyrinth, the more potent the floor bosses become. There are no exceptions to this rule, and depending on one's capabilities, the difficulty of defeating them may fluctuate. This also implies that the mana contained within their bodies increases with each descending floor. Eunice raises his finger and notes that Jire encountering such a formidable opponent on the 3rd floor is peculiar, marking just the beginning of the bizarre occurrences. He mentions the typical rule that floor bosses can't leave their designated boss chambers. Although he acknowledges he doesn't fully understand the workings, Eunice emphasizes that it's a fundamental characteristic of the labyrinth, and even middle apocryphal beasts adhere to this rule. Eunice points out that in fact, the orchestra didn't attack until Jire opened the door, raising the question of how a weaker apocryphal beast managed to emerge from the boss chamber and transform upon encountering them. Eunice proposes the simplest hypothesis. The 3rd floor boss was an apocryphal beast freed from the labyrinth's rule. Jire reacts with shock, and Eunice, gesturing with his finger, suggests that the bonds of the labyrinth are weakening. Jire questions if that means the beast might not be able to maintain their mana outside the labyrinth, to which Eunice admits he has no idea. He shares historical context, explaining the apocryphal era when monsters roamed outside labyrinths and were humanity's formidable neighbors, predating their births. Jire, visibly stressed, queries whether such an era could occur nowadays, considering it happened so long ago. Eunice conveys that, in a worst-case scenario, it could happen, as they currently face an apocryphal beast. He mentions the belief that the apocryphal era could be reenacted, leaving Jire unable to comprehend the situation. Jire questions if Eunice might be overthinking, suggesting that perhaps the 3rd floor boss was a unique case. Turning to Lily for clarification, he is met with a moment of silence before she reveals that some pages from the Apocrypha were lost, leaving Jire even more astonished. Lily explains that a fire broke out in the library 700 years ago, causing part of the original Apocrypha and the 7 books of the first manuscript to be destroyed, almost as if by design, starting from the 2nd manuscript onwards. Due to the loss of information, it is challenging to determine what is true. Lily reflects on her childhood curiosity, where she would ponder questions like, was the fallen king annihilated, and how did Rosti fight him? Now, with a hand on her lips, she discloses the truth. Rosti didn't kill the fallen king, but instead sealed him in this place. Jire reacts with complete shock, while Eunice smiles, affirming that this aligns with his thoughts. Eunice gazes at the labyrinth and states that it's not a natural occurrence. It was formed from the structure Rosti created, with the outpouring of mana from the fallen king sealed within, making it a pseudo-labyrinth. Lily speculates that information about this place might have been contained in the lost pages that were burned in the fire, or intentionally destroyed. Jire questions if this implies that the bonds are weakening, and the monsters are attempting to escape. However, Lily dismisses this notion, stating that it is likely far more serious, revealing that the labyrinth's seal is on the verge of breaking. In shock, Jire asks about the consequences if the seal breaks. Eunice ponders the situation and asserts that it won't just end there. The apocryphal beast bound to the labyrinthine structure would be unleashed onto the surface world. He emphasizes that they would be helplessly destroyed if that were to happen. Lily adds that it's not just about the release of the apocryphal beasts. If the fallen king reawakens, the world will be flooded with mana, leading to the destruction of civilization, similar to what happened in prehistoric times. Jire's face reflects terror as he sits down, exclaiming that there is all the more reason for them to turn back. With wide-open eyes and a shocked expression, he emphasizes that the 3 of them can't keep vital information to themselves. Jire suggests that they need to find a way out of the labyrinth and inform everyone about what they have learned. He insists that their strength doesn't make them the best, urging them to swallow their pride and abandon the idea of handling everything on their own. Eunice and Lily turn their attention to Jire, their gaze shifting upward as they notice the impending total solar eclipse. Eunice explains that's the day when mana is at its densest, speculating that the seal might break during that moment, or someone on the surface might make a move first. Jire, inquisitive, questions the term surface, and Eunice suggests that the cathedral in the city might be a linchpin maintaining the seal from above. Jire, his face reflecting shock, asks if someone is planning to destroy the cathedral. Lily suggests that it might be someone devoted to the fallen king, preemptively illuminating a powerful swordsman who got close to the city. Jire looks serious and wonders if it's Godok. Eunice confidently states that it seems like Godok's plan didn't work out, clenching his fist and saying it's time for them to do something. Lily agrees, but Jire stays quiet, trying to understand what's happening. Eunice tells Jire that a solar eclipse is coming in 3 days at noon. Even though they're not sure how many floors are left in the labyrinth, Eunice emphasizes that if they don't seal the fallen king before the eclipse, they will fail. Jire sits there in shock, trying to grasp the seriousness of the situation. Lily addresses Jire, stating that the situation has nothing to do with him. She explains that both she and Eunice came for a mission, and if either of them leaves, they won't be able to reseal the fallen king. She asserts that Jire is not needed, leaving him with a sense of sadness. Moving ahead, there's no sure promise of staying alive, a risky fact that was true even before. But now, things get even more dangerous. Running into bigger, scarier creatures isn't just a fight for life anymore. It means certain death. Lily lowers her head and expresses gratitude to Jire for guiding them this far. She tells him with a smile that he has done enough. Sitting there, Jire reflects on his journey through the labyrinth, facing his own weakness, unable to fight properly without his glasses. He realizes that he might lose his life or fail to protect his friends. Eunice, standing nearby, acknowledges the limited time before the solar eclipse and understands that Jire has no obligation to fight. However, he earnestly asks Jire to risk his life to save the world and lead them to the deepest level of the labyrinth. Jire thinks about the big responsibility he's taking on and realizes he's not good at much except swinging his sword. But even so, he feels happy about it. Lily asks if he's sure about helping them, and Jire happily raises his hand, saying that without someone leading him, he might never get out of the labyrinth to see the sky again. Lily says thanks while holding one of his hands, and Eunice holds the other. Jire remembers that he came to the labyrinth to conquer it in the first place, so the three of them kept going on their journey. Even though they weren't as cheerful as before, there was still a bit of hope in their steps. One of them asks which way they should go, and Jire responds that based on his gut feeling, they should go this way. Kraa, standing there in shock as she looks at the monster, recalls hearing this name countless times in her childhood and reading them in the scriptures. A servant of the fallen king, the Apocryphal beast, instrumental. Suddenly gazing at Arlene, Kraa asks if the fallen king has risen again. Arlene in a hurry dismisses the question and instructs them to quickly take up positions in the cathedral. He emphasizes that if they don't act, the town will be left as nothing but burned earth. Holland advises Kraa to go with Arlene, promising to join them after finding his family. Despite losing Jire in the labyrinth, Kraa decides to help rather than just run away. She instructs Arlene to go ahead, and upon hearing a child's plea for help, she rushes towards the source. Kraa rescues the child from a wooden log, reflecting on her newfound ability to help others. She extends her hand to the little girl who gratefully accepts. Kraa smiles, but her joy is short-lived as large spiders suddenly appear. Shocked, she wonders if they are from the labyrinth. Initially considering the option of fighting, Kraa realizes it's impossible for her. The only choice now is to run. Just in time, a group of adventurers arrive to protect her. Archers shoot arrows at the spiders, coming to Kraa's aid in the nick of time. Everyone looks surprised as they watch Kraa. Suddenly, Holland shows up and asks how everyone is doing. He says he already took Kraa to the cathedral. Out of nowhere, one of the adventurers grabs Holland and angrily asks why Kraa is still there. Holland explains that he gave her a chance to leave, but she decided to stay. To him, Kraa reminds him of how they used to be, without much power or experience, but determined to keep going. With a smile and memories in his eyes, he talks about Kraa as someone who faced rejection but kept trying different things, showing strong persistence. He talks directly to Kraa, saying he believes she'll become a great adventurer someday. The adventurer angrily declares that Kraa shouldn't let herself become corrupted like they were, before she gets so entangled that she can't escape anymore, before she turns into a pitiful, watchtive adventurer just like them. Kraa finally speaks, asserting with a strong tone that she won't run away. The adventurer appears disappointed, while Holland smirks. Kraa questions if the same doesn't apply to them. Otherwise, they wouldn't be fully armed, and asks if they plan to fight. The adventurer responds affirmatively, stating that they have to fight because if they don't, who will? He emphasizes the importance of protecting the family that lives in the city. Holland observes everyone's high morale and reveals to Kraa that because they wanted to help the next generation, as they found their footing in times of need, they decided to name their guild Future Plant. He admits that they may have lost all their pride and tells Kraa not to die. Kraa, after bidding farewell to the little girl with a smile, sits there looking at what is happening everywhere with an expressionless face. During that time when the adventurers are making a move, Godok sits inside the dark cave alone with his magic sword in his hand, ready to take action. The adventurers keep fighting along with archers, killing monsters and trying to save the city. Kraa helps the normal people to take shelter in the cathedral, everyone fighting to save the city. Suddenly a flash appears, and she thinks a flash bomb can slow only a monster around, but that's more than enough. The adventurers shout that the 5th Street is all clear and inform that backup is needed in the east side. Kraa, standing there, suddenly sees the flying monster. She shouts at Holland to look out for the bird. Holland realizes the bird's feathers are as hard as steel, and suddenly, when he was going to fall from such a high place, somehow Kraa manages to catch him and save him from the damage it could have caused. Holland sits there with his hand on his head, and Kraa asks him if he is fine. Holland thanks her for saving him and tells Kraa to brace herself because they are looking death in the face. The bird looks at them with scarred eyes and big sharp teeth. Holland says it looks like they have finally got its attention and suddenly shouts Holland's name. Holland looks at them, and these are a few archmages who, using their power, tie the monster. Kraa with happiness says they caught it, but Holland shouts it's too early to celebrate. Holland shouts at the archers to hit the monster with arrows so that its mobility is reduced and doesn't give time to it. All the archers start shooting arrows at it, and the bird totally covers itself without any movement. Kraa notices the strategy on the flying bird is attacked from all sides, aimed at the wing. Holland runs near the bird to shoot his arrow, thinking no matter how sturdy those feathers are, if it takes an arrow at point-blank range, it will end. But suddenly, Kraa notices the fire starting to glow inside the monster's mouth as her eyes remain wide open. She realizes it's not right, and the instrumentals are dragons who can breathe fire. She shouts, telling Holland that it's going to breathe fire. Immediately, Kraa runs to save Holland, coming in front of him to shield him from the fire. She shouts at Holland to move as she gets herself burned in the process. She recalls the time when Jire told her about the cards, emphasizing that no matter how useless she thinks her cards are, there's always a situation when she could use them in a team battle. Covered in flames, she screams as the fire burns her repeatedly, reflecting on the childhood dreams she had while reading about such adventures. Holland, with his mighty bow, faces the monster breathing fire. He employs his skill, the King of the Wind, and destroys the monster completely. He looks at Kraa asking if she is still alive. With a low voice, Kraa answers him, saying yes. She lies there motionless, her body burned. Holland smiles at her and asks her not to move. The adventurer tells him that he will get a healing mage from the cathedral to come and heal them. Holland looks at Kraa with a proud face and tells her she is doing a great job. Without her, he would not have killed the beast. Kraa giggles in pain as Holland says they will take care of the rest and asks her to just rest there. Kraa closes her eyes, her shaky voice showing gratitude to Holland. However, Holland suddenly sees many bats coming towards them, leaving him in shock. The archmage there also looks at the sky, remaining in complete disbelief. Unable to trust their eyes, he shouts that they could barely handle those and tells Holland to name himself. He instructs him to evacuate everyone in the cathedral as he will buy some time. Holland looks at him in shock, and another man speaks up, suggesting they forget about the city and stating that the whole country is screwed. He shouts at Holland to leave immediately. Kraa, with her shaking voice, asks Holland to go, and he cries due to the dire situation. With no choice left, he runs to evacuate everyone in the cathedral. The adventurer shouts, urging anyone with strength left to draw attention, even if just for a few seconds. Suddenly, Holland's eyes widen as he sees another creature, stronger and larger than before, coming towards them. In his mind, he thinks the last one was nothing compared to this one. He looks at the beast shooting a mega fireball towards them, realizing he may not make it in time. Kraa, with her half-opened eyes, looks at the monster with defeat in her eyes. However, suddenly a miracle happens, and everyone watches as a boy fights the monster with a sword, ultimately killing the beast with a single strike. Kraa, with her half-opened eyes just before fainting, looks at the boy killing the monster and then walking. She notices its cheer and loses consciousness. On the other hand, Eunice claps with a smile, saying it seems like they just made it in time. He mentions the total solar eclipse slated for dawn and lifts his hand towards the stars. Eunice questions how about showing everyone his true power, earned through many trials and tribulations as the Archmage of the Stars. He uses his skill, causing a rain of meteors on the monsters. Meanwhile, on the other side, Lily raises her hand, informing Arlene that she is back. Arlene runs towards her, realizing it's the same. Lily apologizes for being late, and Arlene asks where in the world she was. Lily urges Arlene to leave the discussion and lecture for later, heading to the back room. Lily informs Arlene about the current state of the city, revealing many casualties and extensive damage. She mentions that 3 routes leading to the cathedral have been secured, but due to the large outbreak of beast birds, she leaves everything to Arlene, admitting she's not good at that stuff. Lily looks upward, expressing her intent to fix the situation. Inside the cathedral, she stands among the families, reassuring them not to worry. Lily uses her magic, and suddenly the cathedral starts glowing as she sits on her knees, praying to use her magic. She declares that the number of people injured will now be reduced to 0. A big flash occurs, healing all the people in the city. Kraa wakes up, finding herself totally fine with her injuries vanished. Similarly, Hallen and all the other adventurers also realize they are healed. Hallen and Kraa look at Jire as he apologizes, and with a smile mentions that he got lost. Jire reflects on the challenge of checking every passage without a wink of sleep or even a break, hunting down every monster in sight for 3 days continuously. He takes a deep breath and then shouts, asking Kraa where she is. Kraa, looking disappointed, gazes at him from behind and informs him that she is here. Jire approaches her, attempting to recognize her face, while Kraa wonders if something is wrong. Jire, seeing Hallen, recalls the face and asks Kraa what's happening. In a whisper, Eunice had informed him that she is the only one on their side. Kraa explains that the entire city evacuated to the cathedral. When the beasts attacked, they secured escape routes and aided those who couldn't get away in time. However, apocryphal beasts appeared, and without Jire's timely arrival, they would have been in great peril. Jire inquires about her knowledge and whether they found the leader. Kraa, still in shock about the leader, says she doesn't know anything. Jire then asks Kraa to lead him to the cathedral, and she confirms. Meanwhile, Hallen, standing behind them, asks what he should do. Jire, feeling anger, remains silent. Hallen offers help, but Kraa reassures Jire that none of them will run away. Jire tells Hallen he doesn't need help and instructs him to prioritize assisting people, counting on him. Hallen acknowledges and goes to help people, while Kraa points out the cathedral. Struggling to see clearly due to his weak eyesight, Jire is handed his glasses by Kraa, who reveals she's kept them safe. Jire, lifting the glasses with happiness, shouts that he can see and points out various things. He gives Kraa his jacket, thinking she might be cold. Excitedly, he runs towards the cathedral, but Kraa corrects his direction. Lily descends from the cathedral stairs, noticing Jire's changed face. Jire proudly attributes it to wearing glasses, and Lily comments on how good they look on him. She shares the good news that Eunice and she have exhausted themselves in sealing spells, leaving them with little mana. Jire questions how that is good news, just as footsteps approach them. Lily reveals that it means Jire gets to face the leader one-on-one. Kraa wonders if that's the leader Jire mentioned, the one with apocryphal magic gear. Jire confirms, and Lily explains that Godok's sword is the fallen king's armament, dominating his heart and mind with deep hatred, all for the revival of the fallen king. Jire shouts at Godok and tells him that the abyss has been resealed by a saint and an archmage. Even if he destroys the cathedral, the fallen king won't be revived. Godok shouts in a shaking voice, telling them to run away as they can't beat Vanish. Jire wonders if he is still conscious, thinking that's an S-rank adventurer for sure. Godok further says in a shaky voice that a human being can't hope to defeat the magic sword. Jire unleashes his sword, asking if that was not the reason Godok called him. Jire says Godok knew he could not win on his own, and he knew the fallen king would be revived if he didn't do something. Armed with what little willpower and reason he had left, he sent Jire to the Labyrinth to reseal. Godok continues, saying it's impossible even for Jire. However, Jire, swinging his swords with a smile, says he is still inexperienced, but will prove with this sword that the path he chose was the best one. He declares that the swordsman Jire is back. Jire advances to deliver a strike, understanding that 50% of the time, the outcome of a fight hinges on the first blow. He targets Godok, who is transformed into a beast, but Godok skillfully blocks the attack, leaving Jire slightly shocked. Seizing the opportunity, Godok lifts Jire and pushes him away. Despite being thrown, Jire defends himself successfully and prepares for another strike. He immediately jumps to strike Jire, believing the second way is to kill him in one blow. Utilizing his 8th sword skill, he unleashes a cleaving thunderbolt, causing a massive strike. However, after the attack, he witnesses that it was not enough to kill Godok. Godok releases the magic sword, and somehow Jire manages to defend against it. The entire ground breaks into pieces, and Jire, holding his sword from the floor, reflects that the only reason he survived was because Godok had been suppressing this power. He realizes that all of this was caused by the magic sword. Examining the monster's form Godok has transformed into, Jire thinks to himself that everything had started with the sword, which invaded the warrior's soul and eliminated obstacles in its path. Suddenly, Godok jumps onto Jire to attack, but with quick reflexes, Jire manages to defend against the assault. Godok takes another strike at Jire, smashing the floor, and Jire successfully defends it with a sword. Jire says to himself that once again, he feels the rage, madness, and an impulse unlike anything he has experienced before. He gazes at Godok, who in his thoughts acknowledges for the first time since the magic sword vanished that he harbors fear for a lone swordsman. Jire also senses an old sensation, realizing that unlike both experiences and the awakening, this feeling is comprehension. With determination, he rushes towards Godok to deliver a strike, feeling his soul moving faster and his body's consciousness greatly heightened. Jumping and charging at Godok, Jire believes this is how a sword should truly be wielded. As he approaches Godok, the latter attacks with his magic sword, but Jire's flash speed enables him to see and successfully defend against it. Godok seizes Jire, but Jire takes advantage of the situation, acknowledging that he could not have reached this level on his own. He reflects that missing any person or giving up on any one thing would have prevented him from exceeding his limits. Freed from Godok's grasp, Jire cuts the beast's hand, expressing gratitude in his mind for everyone's support. He unleashes his sword from his back to attack Godok, using his secret sword art, the Moon Dream. In a single strike, he slices through Godok's body, achieving victory and saving the whole country from the fallen king. After Jire's victory, the crowd erupts in cheers, filling the air with excitement. Jire, still catching his breath, grins and says, "Everyone was worried about me, huh? Seems like I'm still a novice." As he lifts his hand in the air, the exhaustion finally catches up to him and he suddenly collapses, fainting on the spot. Several days later, the morning sun shines through the window, casting a warm glow over the room. The kitchen alarm rings loudly, jolting Jire awake. "How long are you going to sleep?" Lily's voice calls out, half teasing, half scolding. She continues to ring the alarm until Jire finally opens his eyes. They exchange sleepy good mornings, and Lily, with a hint of urgency in her voice, says, "If you're leaving today, you'd better get up early." She pauses and then asks, "Did I bother you?" Jire shakes his head, smiling slightly. "No, I'm grateful." Then he thanks her and she smiles. She then heads out, instructing Jire to wash his face and change his clothes, though she doesn't really care, saying, "Just come quickly." With that, she slams the door behind her. Jire chuckles to himself, thinking, "Lily in an apron, what a great thing to see in the morning." He recalls how he tried to suppress his feelings because of the tense atmosphere before, but now he can't help but admit to himself that he was aware of it all along, especially from how Eunice interacted with her. "Man, what a relief," he thinks, then mutters, "I'm gonna beat the hell out of whoever said she was an 80-year-old married lady." Suddenly, Jire notices someone at the door. It's Eunice. "Hey, Jire, it's been a while since we've seen each other in the morning." She greets him with a bright smile. Jire smiles back and replies, "You're in a pretty good mood, considering how early it is." Eunice laughs softly. "I'm actually going to bed after this. I feel as sluggish as mud. Are you about to have breakfast?" Jire nods, and they head to the dining room together. As they enter, they find Lily already seated and eating. "Oh, you two finally made it," she calls out, waving them over. They sit down and join her, and the three of them begin to eat their breakfast. The meal is simple but comforting, and the atmosphere is light. But as they eat, Lily breaks the silence, her tone turning a bit more serious. "This will be the last time the three of us are together like this." Eunice looks at Jire and asks, "You're leaving today, aren't you?" Jire nods. "Yeah, I plan to leave before noon." Lily suddenly remembers something and says, "Oh, Arlie asked if you needed a wagon." Jire shakes his head. "Nah, I'm good." Eunice then asks, "So you're just going to say goodbye after breakfast?" Jire confirms, "Yeah, but I'm going to stop by the hospital first. Have they regained consciousness yet?" Lily nods. "They sure have." Jire sighs in relief. "I'll say a quick goodbye then. I have a promise I've been putting off for a while." Lily, with a teasing smile, says, "Speaking of promises, make sure you write to us." Jire and Eunice exchange a glance, both of them caught off guard by the request. Lily continues, "You two forgot, didn't you? That's no good." She turns to Jire and says, "Write to us when you get settled somewhere." Jire nods. "Sure, I can do that." Lily, clearly pleased, says with a grin, "My writing is super cute, you know." Eunice adds, "I'll try to come up with some secret codes." Jire, however, is a bit more reserved and admits, "I have to be honest, my letters probably won't be that exciting." Lily and Eunice protest in unison, "Make them exciting. We're looking forward to it." They all share a laugh, and the mood lightens once again. As Jire gets up to leave, Lily suddenly stands up with a mischievous grin and suggests, "How about a goodbye kiss?" The suggestion catches Jire off guard, and he freezes for a moment. But before he can respond, Lily pulls out a hand puppet, a small deer, and makes it kiss Jire on the cheek. Jire can't help but laugh at the silliness of it all. Not wanting to be left out, Eunice grabs her own puppet, a wild boar, and follows suit, making it kiss Jire on the other cheek. Jire laughs even harder, the absurdity of the situation lifting his spirits. Lily then asks Jire, "Do you want to join in?" Jire, still chuckling, takes the deer puppet and playfully makes it kiss Eunice's boar puppet. The three of them burst into laughter, the tension of the impending farewell melting away. Jire thinks to himself, "This is more fun than I expected." The simple act of playing with the puppets has somehow made the goodbye a little easier. Finally, they lower the puppets, and the mood shifts to something more serious. Lily takes Jire's hand and says with determination, "The three of us will meet again. It's fate." Jire, moved by their words, squeezes their hands in return, a silent promise passing between them. With that, Jire finally takes his leave, stepping out into the world beyond, his heart a little lighter for having shared this moment with the two people who mean so much to him. And the manga ends here. Thank you for watching. Here is the manga title, My Blade Will Lead the Way, abandoned in a labyrinth as a directionally challenged S-rank swordsman. The recap covers chapters 1 to 23, and it still has 3 remaining chapters, which are 24, 25, 26. You can read it by yourself if you want. Thank you.